still trying to adjust to the blip, the name given to the return of everyone who disappeared for 5 years because of Thanos. Since Peter Parker was one of the victims of the snap, he returns at exactly the same age, while some of the people around him have naturally grown older. But the greatest burden he's carrying has nothing to do with that. Peter is still trying to cope with Tony Stark's death. His school organizes a 2-week trip across Europe, and Peter sees it as the perfect opportunity to put his life as a superhero on hold for a while. His only plan is to spend more time with MJ and finally tell her he's in love with her. But as is almost always the case with Spider-Man, those plans are completely derailed when a gigantic water monster appears and begins destroying part of Venice. During the attack, a new hero named Quentin Beck shows up. He defeats the creature in front of everyone and quickly earns the public's trust. Shortly afterward, Nick Fury approaches Peter and explains that Beck came from another universe within the multiverse. According to his story, 4 beings known as the Elementals destroyed his world and are now attacking the MCU's Earth. Today, that explanation sounds completely normal because of the movies that followed. But back in 2019, simply mentioning the multiverse drove Marvel fans absolutely crazy.
Oh, nice.
Even so, Peter doesn't want to be part of the mission. After everything he went through with Thanos, all he wants is to spend a few days being a normal teenager. Fury, however, practically forces the class to continue their trip to Prague, which just so happens to be where the next elemental is expected to appear. With little choice, Peter ends up helping Beck during the attack of the so-called Fire Elemental. After the battle, Quentin is hailed as Earth's newest great hero. As Peter makes one of the biggest mistakes of his life, Tony Stark
What's up, guys?
a very special gift.
Loki Wally West right now. I'm Loki Wally West.
Enormous network of satellites.
Eyes closed, let the world just pass me by. Nice close. Alright. Whoa, what the hell?
In reality, he was a holographic technology specialist who got fired because of his unstable.
Oh.
Small device she found during the battle in Prague. The object is actually one of Beck's hologram projectors. The moment Peter realizes that, he immediately understands he's been tricked. Desperate, he travels to Berlin to warn Nick Fury, but Beck was already expecting him. Using his holograms, he creates a series of illusions so realistic that Peter completely loses his sense of reality. Within minutes, Spider-Man believes he's talking to Fury, sees zombie versions of Iron Man, faces completely impossible scenarios, and accidentally reveals that MJ, Ned, and his friends know the truth about Mysterio. It's one of the MCU's most creative sequences and perfectly recreates the confusion Mysterio has always caused in the comics. At the end of the trap, Beck causes Peter to be hit by a train. Badly injured, Peter wakes up in the Netherlands. With no way to get home, he manages to contact Happy Hogan, who immediately flies out to rescue him. During the flight to London, Happy reminds Peter how much Tony Stark believed in him. The conversation helps Peter regain his confidence. It becomes an emotional turning point because he finally accepts that he'll never be the next Iron Man. He just needs to be Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Beck prepares his ultimate illusion element. By combining all of the elementals into one gigantic attack, he plans to put on the greatest spectacle of his career and eliminate all of Peter's classmates in the process. During the final battle, Peter stops relying on technology and instead puts his complete trust in his spider sense. Ignoring all the illusions surrounding him, he fights his way through the swarm of drones using nothing but his instincts. After regaining control of Edith, Peter successfully shuts down the drones. Beck tries to fool him one last time with another illusion, but Peter sees through the trick before it's too late.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Hello?
During the confrontation,
Hi, Mom.
Spider-Man was responsible for both the London attack and Beck's death.
Are you sure you want to commit the ground attack? There will be significant casualties.
Do it! Execute them all!
The footage is handed over to J. Jonah Jameson, who broadcasts Spider-Man's secret identity to the entire world.
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker.
The true multiverse. In Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter Parker wakes up to find his life completely turned upside down. Quentin Beck manipulated a video that convinced the entire world Spider-Man was a murderer.
There will be significant casualties.
revealed that Peter Parker was the man behind the mask. Overnight, Peter goes from being an ordinary high school student to becoming the most famous person on the planet. Reporters surround his home, protesters fill the streets, and even his classmates begin treating him differently. The Department of Damage Control brings Peter, MJ, Ned Leeds, and Aunt May in for questioning. Although all charges are eventually dropped thanks to attorney Matt Murdock, Peter's reputation remains completely destroyed. The biggest consequences fall on his friends. Because of all the controversy surrounding Spider-Man, MJ and Ned both have their MIT applications rejected. Feeling responsible for ruining the lives of the people he loves most, Peter decides to seek out someone capable of solving an impossible problem. That person is Doctor Strange. Peter asks Strange to make the entire world forget his secret identity. Surprisingly, Strange agrees, but during the spell, Peter keeps asking for changes. He wants Aunt May to remember, then he remembers Ned, then MJ, and even Happy Hogan. Each new request destabilizes the spell further until Strange is forced to stop it before a complete catastrophe occurs. But it was already too late. The spell opens small rifts between different universes and begins pulling into the MCU. Anyone who knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man. The first to appear is Dr. Octopus, once again played by Alfred Molina. Soon afterward come Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin portrayed by Willem Dafoe, followed by Electro, Sandman, and the Lizard. For fans of the previous Spider-Man franchises, seeing all these villains sharing the same movie felt almost impossible just a few years earlier. Doctor Strange explains that every one of them was pulled from their universe shortly before their deaths. His plan is simple: capture them and send them back immediately to restore the balance of the multiverse. Peter, however, sees things differently. After learning that several of them would return to the exact moments of their deaths, he believes there's a better solution. Instead of condemning them, he decides to try curing them. It's a decision heavily influenced by Aunt May's belief that if someone can be saved, they deserve that chance. Doctor Strange considers the idea far too dangerous and tries to stop Peter. The two end up battling inside the mirror dimension, where Peter uses his intelligence and mathematical knowledge to outsmart Strange without relying on brute force. Afterward, he traps the sorcerer inside the mirror dimension and takes the villains to Happy Hogan's apartment to begin developing cures for each of them. The first treatment works perfectly. Peter restores Otto Octavius' control over his mechanical arms. For the first time in years, Otto finally becomes himself again. But everything changes when the Green Goblin personality takes control of Norman Osborn once more. Manipulating the other villains, Goblin starts a massive battle inside the building. Electro, Sandman, and the Lizard escape. Goblin stays behind to fight Peter. The fight between the two is one of the most intense in the entire trilogy. Without cracking jokes or hiding his anger, Peter attacks Goblin with everything he's got. In the middle of the chaos, Aunt May is critically injured. Before dying, she manages to say the words that define Spider-Man's entire legacy.
As a gift, you have power. And with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
This is the loss that finally transforms Peter into the Spider-Man fans know from the comics. Not knowing where Peter has gone, Ned uses Doctor Strange's sling ring to open a portal to find his friend. But instead, another Peter Parker steps through. A few moments later, another one appears. They are the Spider-Men played by Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, now officially part of the MCU. The meeting between the three Peter Parkers quickly becomes the emotional heart of the film. Instead of serving as simple nostalgia, they share their pain and reveal that they've all experienced similar losses. Tobey talks about Uncle Ben. Andrew remembers Gwen Stacy's death and admits he never truly recovered from it. Together, they help Tom Holland's Peter avoid following the path of revenge.
She told me that with great power comes great responsibility. Uncle Ben said it. The day he died.
The three Spider-Men then begin creating cures for the remaining villains. The final battle takes place at the Statue of Liberty, which is undergoing renovations to receive Captain America's massive shield. As they fight Electro, Sandman, and the Lizard, each Spider-Man uses his own unique fighting style, creating countless references to their previous franchises. One of the film's most emotional moments comes when Andrew Garfield saves MJ after she falls. The scene serves as a form of redemption, since he was unable to save Gwen Stacy in his own universe. With Otto Octavius' help, all of the villains are eventually cured. But before disappearing, the Green Goblin destroys Doctor Strange's magical containment box, holding the original spell. Immediately, enormous cracks begin spreading across the sky. Thousands of people from other universes who know Spider-Man's identity start crossing into the MCU. Doctor Strange tries to contain the fractures, but realizes he won't be able to hold them much longer. That's when Peter makes the hardest decision of his entire life. He asks Strange to cast one final spell, this time not to make the world forget Spider-Man, but to erase Peter Parker completely from everyone's memory. That way, no one would remember who he was, preventing the multiverse from continuing to collapse. The plan works. All of the visitors return to their respective universes, including the other two Spider-Men and every villain. Even Eddie Brock, the Sony Universe's Venom, is sent back, although a tiny fragment of the symbiote remains behind in the MCU, setting up a possible future story. A few weeks later, Peter tries to reunite with MJ and Ned to keep his promise of telling them the truth again. However, after seeing that they are finally living peaceful lives, he decides against it. For the first time since becoming Spider-Man, Peter chooses to sacrifice his own happiness to protect the people he loves. After visiting Aunt May's grave and briefly speaking to Happy Hogan, he
figure. Results at the end. Giving this homecoming jacket to the No Way Home figure and removing his head, I'll take a picture of that, as well as the Tom Holland figure. Throwing it into Procreate, I'll start by isolating the Tom Holland head from the neck up and positioning that while blending it in. To recolor the jacket, I'm going to turn the yellow to this very dark blue, and I'll do my best to make the black hoodie more of a tan color. Starting on shadows and highlights, we'll do the body and quickly move up to the head, and I'm going to use those shadows to really shape up the Tom Holland and sculpt to look more like it. Putting some finishing touches and color corrections along with the background and a little bit of light spill, that is the poster done. Does it look like it? You tell me. I recreated a Spider-Man brand new day poster with action figures. Results at the end. Giving this homecoming jacket to the No Way Home figure and removing his head.
Bunny Brachis comes from an unreleased Nintendo 64 prototype game. Unfortunately, the game had so little storage space that it quickly began to run out of room. So he did what he thought was the right thing, a little cleanup. And well, it's said that he eventually began hopping from game to game, believing he was optimizing them, which is exactly what he still believes he's doing in the Forsaken realm, where he sees every survivor as nothing more than an unnecessary file taking up storage space, except for Two-Time, who's apparently just a stupid cartridge tilder to him. Funny Brachis comes from an unreleased Nintendo 64.
Apparently, the extra knockback you get when charging killers on a ramp isn't intentional. Recently, a tester said that the ramp charging knockback can't be fixed unless they rework knockback as a whole. This means the extra knockback is likely caused by Roblox's physics and is another unintentional mechanic. Apparently, the extra knockback you get when charging killers on a ramp isn't...
Whichever spray I find in my first game is getting adopted by me as my new favorite spray for the season. Oh my god, that spray already has an owner. Okay, where would I be if I was a little sprite Arthur Island? I can't wait to see who I get, and I think I'm gonna give him a special name too. Wait, are there even sprite chests in this? First chest, wish me luck. Oh my god, I got one already. He's legendary. Am I extremely lucky? Look at little Tom. You a double jump. I adopt you. I shall name you Jimbo. Whichever spray I find in my...
Within seconds, all the armor starts beeping along with red light, and then they begin exploding in a chain reaction, creating a wave of
Okay, this is
destruction
getting out of
across the
hand.
air, while the
So
heroes
about a month
manage
ago,
to
I was
escape
watching a
the
video,
building.
but when I tried for comments, but that's me in the princess outfit. Now, maybe the comments is because I'm trying to take a screenshot of me in some outfit, and people will use as a profile picture. The thing is, because I'm kind of popular now, there could be thousands of comments of me in some random video, and I'll never know. Like, there could be someone out there whose very first impression of me is wearing a princess dress. Still better than wearing like a maid dress. Okay, this is...
the giant's body. The impact is instant. Laufey is completely vaporized, reduced to nothing in just a few seconds. Red Skull. In Captain America, the first Avenger, Johann Schmidt, the Red Skull, beats a fate that mixes death and cosmic transformation. During the final confrontation with the Valkyrie
I'm Verity.
Schmidt tries to use the
Large
Tesseract as if he's driven by arrogance and the belief that he deserves all
Why do
power
people
and
think
existence.
Marvel
He holds the
intentionally
artifact in
removed
his bare
one
hand.
character from
Space
this
Stone
scene
reacts
in
to
Spider-Man
fire,
Brand New
releasing
Day?
intense
Marvel is
blue
no
energy.
stranger to editing trailers. I mean,
His
just
body
look at
glows,
Spider-Man No
distorts,
Way Home.
and
That
begins to
famous shot
disintegrate
of
as
all
the
three
portal opens
Spider-Men
above him.
jumping at Sandman, Electro, and Lizard was edited to remove Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. In the Brazilian version of the trailer, even forgot to remove the part where Andrew Garfield kicks the Lizard, and it looks like the Lizard just gets hit by nothing. So some people say the character that was removed could be the Grey Hulk. Some say Spooderman. But all of this is wrong. They didn't remove anyone. Instead, they edited out Spider-Man's extra arms. Here's why. Spider-Man fails to stop the Hand's army, and when one of them tries to strike him with a sword, his eyes turn black, and he snaps the blade with his web. That's the moment his transformation begins. This is where he starts turning into Man Spider. In this scene, he actually has 4 extra arms, making 6 in total. And with those 6 arms, Spider-Man takes on the entire army by himself. Why do people think Marvel intentionally removed one?
The final explosion completely consumes the villain. The Accuser. In Guardians of the Galaxy, Ronan the Accuser reaches absurd power by embedding the Power Stone into his Warhammer. Determined to destroy Xandar, he becomes practically invincible. The final battle happens when the
I know what to play right now,
Ronan
guys.
at his peak. Peter Quill distracts him with an unexpected dance, while Rocket and Drax destroy the hammer that channels the
That's the
stone.
second one.
The artifact breaks apart, the Power Stone is left exposed in the air, radiating destructive energy. Quill holds it, withstanding the force that should have killed him instantly. Gradually, the other Guardians join in, sharing the devastating load. Together, they channel the accumulated energy and direct it fully against Ronan. Unable to resist the raw power of the stone, his body ignites, distorts, and explodes in an intense purple wave. Ultron. In Avengers, Age of Ultron, the villain comes to an end in a silent, almost poetic way after all the chaos he caused. Once Sokovia has fallen and the battle is over, Ultron's last remaining body, damaged, limping, and clearly on the verge of collapse, drags itself through a remote area. There he meets Vision. Ultron begins a bitter reflection about humanity, lamenting his failure to save them and declaring that humans are self-destructive by nature. Vision, with almost melancholic calm, partially agrees, acknowledging that humans do make mistakes, but that there is beauty precisely in those flaws. When Ultron tries to attack him, Vision defends himself. Without unnecessary violence, he fires a precise beam from the Mind Stone, striking Ultron in the forehead. The metal body disintegrates instantly, eliminating the last physical trace of the threat. Yellow Jacket. In Ant-Man, Darren Cross meets his end in a way as bizarre as it is deserved. In the final battle, he faces Scott Lang. During the fight, Scott manages to hit the regulator on the Yellow Jacket Soviet with a growth disc, destabilizing the equipment. From there, everything starts to fall apart. Cross's suit collapses and he begins shrinking nonstop. First, the body distorts. Then it becomes a blur of colors vibrating in the air.
Yes,
in just
up.
a few seconds, he goes from human-sized to something microscopic, beyond the subatomic level, and plunges straight into the quantum realm. There's no explosion, final scream, or dramatic impact. Just an endless, inevitable, and completely uncontrollable shrinking. His death is not definitive, but he is trapped in the quantum realm. And when he returns years later, he is completely
Yo, who's
different.
that right there?
Alexander
Yo,
Pierce.
wait, what?
In
Wait,
Captain
who
America,
are
the
you?
Winter
Who are you?
Soldier, Alexander Pierce
Wait, who
meets
are you?
an old end. At the film's climax, he is inside S.H.I.E.L.D. control room, holding Black Widow hostage amid the chaos
Huh?
of trying to
Who?
seize
Who
power.
you?
That's
Who
when
are
Black
you?
Widow activates the
Who
taser
are
gas
you?
on herself.
Who
At that
are
moment,
you?
Fury draws his pistol and shoots Pierce point blank in the chest. Pierce falls, defeated and without glory, and his death represents the definitive collapse of Hydra's infiltration within S.H.I.E.L.D.
With Wawa's rewards program, you can earn points every day. When you gotta get rewarded, you gotta Wawa.
If you have been injured, know your rights before you sign anything. All Stillman and
What are you got? Bro, you saying that to me? I'm your. No, I'm leaving. Nah, I'm leaving.
Caecilius. In Doctor Strange, the defeat of Caecilius and his fanatics isn't exactly a death, but an eternal sentence. After trying to deliver the world to the Dark Dimension, they end up being used as bargaining chips. When the deal is sealed, Caecilius and his followers begin to float, unable to resist the force pulling them in. Their bodies twist in a grotesque way. They are pulled into the spiraling portal that leads to the Dark Dimension. There, their bodies dissolve into particles of dark energy, losing form, identity, and humanity. They do not die, but they disappear as individuals, becoming part of Dormammu's eternal essence. It is a fate far crueler than death. The worst father in the world. In Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2, Ego is a colossal being, a celestial who manifests both as a planet and as a humanoid avatar, and the father of Peter Quill. Despite appearing friendly throughout the movie, we realize just how evil he truly is. His life depends on a core hidden deep within his own cosmic body. When that core is destroyed by a bomb, the collapse is immediate. Ego's avatar begins to dissolve. Little by little, the planet explodes from the inside out in a spectacle of light and energy
30
until
FPS.
nothing remains but cosmic dust. Hela. Moving now to Thor, Ragnarok. Hela is far too powerful to be destroyed in a conventional way. Not even Thor can overcome her. The solution is to accept the fate she fears most, total destruction. When Surtur is resurrected in his complete form, he becomes an
Shut your
apocalyptic
bitch
force
ass up.
impossible to stop. Hela tries to take back control, attacking the fire giant with fury and precision, but her resistance is useless. Surtur drives his colossal sword into the heart of the realm, generating an explosion of energy capable of destroying everything. Hela is swallowed by a wave of fire and light that completely annihilates her existence. Without the realm that feeds her, she is consumed by the primordial force of Ragnarok. Her death is as grand as her own arrogance. Killmonger. In Black Panther, Killmonger's death is one of the most emotionally intense in the entire superhero universe. After the devastating duel in the vibranium mines, he is mortally wounded when T'Challa manages to impale him with a spear during the final fight. Even weakened, Killmonger maintains the firm posture and determined gaze of someone who deeply believes in his cause. T'Challa, recognizing both his pain and his distorted truth, decides to take him outside the mines to see the sunset of Wakanda, the same one his father told him was the most beautiful in the world. There, Killmonger faces his own mortality with dignity. T'Challa offers to save him with Wakanda's technology, but Killmonger refuses, stating that he would rather die free than live in chains. He takes his final breath before the Golden Horizon, accepting his fate. Loki. Loki's death is always that moment when everyone holds their breath because, well, he has fooled everyone a few times already. First, there was that dramatic fall at the end of Thor, when he plunged into the void and made everyone think he had turned into cosmic dust. But nope, it was just the god of mischief being mischievous. Then in Thor, the Dark World, he stages another heroic death, full of emotion and farewell. But it was all an act to gain an advantage on the throne. Classic Loki. But then we reach the heavy part, Avengers Infinity War. Here the game changes. Loki tries to trick Thanos by offering the Tesseract, but deep down he is just waiting for the right moment to strike. When he finally tries to stab him, the Purple Titan grabs his hand in midair and strangles him without the slightest effort. This is the real end of the God of Mischief in the main MECU timeline. Later, the character returns, but in another version. Ebony Maw. In the frantic pace of Avengers, Infinity War, the fall of Ebony Maw happens in a way that is as fast as it is cruel, and it all begins right after he captures Doctor Strange to extract the Time Stone in the most agonizing way possible. Meanwhile, Maw's absolute focus on the ritual leaves the ship vulnerable, and that's when Tony Stark and Peter Parker act. Tony then appears before the villain and opens a precise breach in the hull, causing a violent suction that rips Maw off the floor. The villain tries to resist, tries to use his telekinesis, but there is no surface or object he can control amid the chaos. The vacuum pulls him out with overwhelming force, and when his body passes through the opening, the deadly cold of space freezes him. Thanos. In Avengers Endgame, Thanos dies. The first time
Shut your bitch ass up.
Track the Titan down to an
I
isolated
don't fucking
planet
care
where
if you're
he lives
3DX's
reclusive in a
brother.
small cabin. There, Thanos is unrecognizable. Weakened,
Why aren't you speaking? Tell me why you're not speaking, you fucking wimp. You, fuck you, 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 you. How about somebody goes tell him to see what's a Shih Tzu and tells you a Shih Tzu because they're a fucking bitch.
He
See?
destroyed the stones, eliminating any chance of undoing the snap. This confession breaks the hero's last thread of hope. It's at this moment that Thor's fury takes center stage. Consumed by the guilt of not having stopped Thanos before, he charges at the Titan. With Stormbreaker in hand and filled with accumulated rage and frustration, he delivers a blow to his head. Then, in his second and final death, at the height of the final battle, he seems about to complete his victory when he tries to use the gauntlet containing the Infinity Stones. However, Tony Stark, in an act of pure sacrifice, manages to pull the stones off without Thanos noticing. When Thanos closes his hand for another snap and nothing happens, he realizes the stones are now on Tony's armor. Tony then delivers his last line in epic fashion and snaps his fingers.
Shut the fuck up. Like, dude, shut the fucking up. Like, shut up before I go hit him with a 1-2 gashing wound. Fucking you in the bitch.
The last trick. In Spider-Man Far From Home, Mysterio's death is marked by illusion and manipulation. During the fight on London Bridge, Peter manages to shut down the swarm of drones that kept Quentin Beck's illusions going, revealing the true vulnerability of the villain. Desperate and wounded, Mysterio tries to regain control of the situation with more visual tricks, but his own malfunctioning equipment turns against him. One of the damaged drones accidentally fires in his direction, hitting him and knocking him to the ground. When Peter finally approaches, he realizes Beck is gravely wounded, struggling to breathe. Even while dying, Beck tries to manipulate Peter until the very last second, and tries to shoot him, but Peter is faster. He succumbs to the wound caused by the very technology he used to fool the world.
People don't believe.
Fuck the shut the
Draco.
fuck up,
In
dude.
Black Widow, Draco when its airborne base is destroyed. In the middle of
Okay,
explosions,
you know what?
desperate escape of Widow's droves of agents.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving this
Once again,
fucking place.
being led to an aircraft prepared specifically to guarantee his survival. He believes he is safe, ready to disappear just as he did in the past. But this time, someone is waiting for him. Yelena Belova. Driven by years of pain, manipulation, and abuse caused by the leader of the Red Room, she refuses to let him escape again. Determined, Yelena charges at the already moving plane and reaches its side. In a final act of sacrifice and courage, she jams an
Speak.
electric stick directly into
Speak
the
to me.
causing an immediate explosion. The blast engulfs the plane and kills Dreykov instantly.
Ha ha. Go fuck yourself.
Shu Wenwu. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings shows Shu Wenwu's death as a moment of guilt, clarity, and sacrifice. In the battle in Talos,
Okay, I'll look out. Okay, I'll look out.
What
the fuck am I doing with this stream, dude?
Mimics her voice. This manipulation makes Wenwu insist on breaking the seal that protects the village, while Shang-Chi tries to stop his father from unleashing something far worse than he imagines. The fight between the two is intense. When the Dweller finally escapes and reveals its true nature, Wenwu sees the creature mercilessly sucking out souls, and instantly realizes his wife was never speaking to him. Reality hits hard, and regret takes over because
Holy shit, how did that happen?
the way of disaster.
The reason I was no, again.
Instead of continuing to fight, he passes the
Okay, why was this duvet colour resting on an extendable pole? That's not normal.
The energy shifts completely.
Van Tuber, fast asleep.
His son can face the Dweller in darkness. Wenwu
What the
places
hell?
himself between the creature and
What have you done? Sorry, I was late because of basketball.
rips out his soul in a matter of seconds, letting his body
Holy shit,
fall
how
while the
did
rings
that
fall
happen?
on Shang-Chi's father.
The reason I was no, again. Okay, why was this duvet colour resting on an extendable pole? That's not normal.
Blind devotion to the Eternal's purpose, allowing
Did you know that Marvel put a young Miles Morales in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and most people didn't even notice him? You see, when the tank plows through another cop car, sending it rolling toward this kid on a scooter, Peter asks. After the kid says yes, Peter pats his helmet twice before leaving. Now some people think this is a very deep-cut reference to the first time Peter Parker technically appeared in the MCU as the kid in the Iron Man mask at the Stark Expo in Iron Man 2. Iron Man saved him in the final battle, but technically that wasn't his first appearance. Earlier in the movie, that same kid in the mask appears when Tony is pushing through the crowd, and after giving him an autograph, Tony pats his helmet the same way. Now here is the mind-blowing part. After people looked up the kid actor on Instagram, they noticed he's a stage dancer who was in a West End production of Oliver, just like Tom Holland, who got his start on the West End in Billy Elliot. So this kid could actually be the upcoming Miles Morales, especially because Tom Holland has said he's already working on bringing Miles Morales to the big screen with him.
We all want to see
Instead of
Miles at some
continuing to
point,
fight,
Miles
she makes a
Morales. Like,
quiet
oh
and
yeah,
definitive
there's
decision.
a whole-
With her powers, she destroys
whole
every
plan
copy of the Darkhold spread
that
across the
we have
multiverse,
been
ensuring no one else can be corrupted. Right after she
working on
focuses her own magic and
for,
triggers the
I would
total collapse
say,
of the
since
fortress
we
where she stands.
finished Spider-Man No Way Home.
Did you know that Marvel put a young Miles Morales in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and most people didn't even notice him? You see, when the tank plows through another...
Swallow everything, and Wanda disappears beneath the crumbling structure. Thor's death in Thor. Love and Thunder is one of those that mix tragedy and redemption. After an entire life consumed by pain and by the corruption of the Necrosphere, he finally reaches his limit. In the final battle, Jane Foster uses everything she has left to
You know,
destroy the Sword.
Dash and Adrenaline love racing each other when there's nothing else going on. Todd always tries to pick a fight with Block, who usually ends up on the floor as expected. Bugle gets along with...
Just a mortal man, weak and exhausted. Even so, he manages to reach...
No way! No way!
Instead of asking for revenge, power, or glory, he uses his wish to bring his daughter back
Holy
to life. It's the
shit.
choice that changes everything. He
Let's
knows
see.
he is dying.
Haven't-
He knows he won't see
Dark
her.
Lord!
So he makes the
Yes,
most
yes, yes,
beautiful
yes.
possible, that Thor take care of her.
Yes, yes! Yes, yes!
His way through the portal that's forming. However, Ant-Man and Wasp his way through the portal that's forming. However, Ant-Man and Wasp join forces at the
No, no, no.
decisive moment.
Zizzy, we got Zizzy, good.
Directly
Vessel!
from the collapsing engine. The Conqueror is
Bring your bat
immediately
up.
sucked into the
Bring your
unstable
bat up,
core,
ass.
swallowed by a whirlwind of energy that twists, compresses,
Right,
finally
yes!
makes him vanish in an
Yes.
explosion. Dar-Ben. In the Marvels,
Did you know,
Dar-Ben's death is a
Dash and
direct
Adrenaline love
consequence of
racing
her
each other when there's
unrestrained
nothing else
ambition
going on.
to
Taunt always tries to pick a fight with Flock, who usually ends up on the floor as expected. Bugle gets along with Banana Peel the most, since they both have a performing background. And Banana Peel is also pretty much the only one who actually likes Taunt. Cloak and Bonus Pad team up a lot, mostly working together on research. Adrenaline likes having Flock around, since they hold the killer back long enough for them to get away. Did you know? Dash and
What
Adrenaline
teleport?
love
Oh!
Body with a power no mortal being could withstand. Darben tries to control the force, but is immediately overwhelmed. The light engulfs her, burning her armor and tearing her physical form apart from the inside. In seconds, the energy implodes on itself, and Darben comes apart in a bright explosion, leaving only cosmic sparks in the air. High Evolutionary. In Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the fight inside the Arret gets more and more violent, as the group finally reaches Rocket's creator, the High Evolutionary. He loses control, screams that Rocket is an abomination, and tries to prove he still dominates everything. But the Guardians of the Galaxy unite against him. Rocket appears right in front of him, and it's the heaviest moment of the scene because the villain had just shouted his hatred seconds before. Rocket then answers with the line where he firmly states his name before shooting. Right after Gamora stabs him, she comes closer and pulls out the mask the villain uses to hide his damaged face. The piece comes off and reveals something no one had seen yet. The skin is peeled back, the muscles are exposed, and there is no nose anymore, just a destroyed area. Rocket has the chance.
Okay, let's see. Template, father. Yes, father. Yes, father. Now, who the heck? Foxy's good. Guardsman. Grunkle Stick.
Using the Time Ripper device, she tries to rewrite the rules of
Ice.
existence by creating a temporal vortex capable of destroying entire realities. In the final showdown, Deadpool and Wolverine fight to stop the collapse from spreading, taking advantage of the device's growing instability. By causing a short circuit in the machine, they trigger a violent domino effect.
Let's see me. Not Grunkle Stan. Fuck, shit, bitch.
Her body starts to twist, swelling in a grotesque way as it absorbs compressed temporal energy. The pressure builds up to the absolute limit, and the villain explodes in a flash.
All he doesn't pay for cart wranglers, no savings goes to you.
What you got? Builder fan. JJ. Okay. We got Zombie. Broken Spawn. Woo! We got some other plush time. I like Red Mirror is crazy. No, why low-key? Why does Red Mirror look like Jack's one? We should remove that bitch. Remove this bitch. Remove them. Willow! Yes, Willow Carl too.
Chaos takes over. The Hellfire Club invades the
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
A villain who turns energy into pure destructive force and tries to convince the mutants to join them. Among the mutants trying not to give in are Darwin and Havoc. Seeing his friend in danger and starting to side with the group, Darwin acts on instinct and pretends he also wants to join them. His power is simple and absolute. Adapt to anything to survive. He's already faced extreme heat, violent impacts, and even radiation. But what comes next is beyond any limit. Alex, still inexperienced, fires an energy blast at Shaw while Darwin protects his friend, but the villain only smiles and catches the blast. He absorbs all of it with ease.
It's a noble gesture.
With a cruel gesture, Shaw channels all the absorbed energy and forces it straight into Darwin's mouth. The power is so intense that the mutant's body begins to glow from the inside, desperately trying to change, evolve, resist. But there's no time. The glow intensifies, his face contorts, and in seconds he cycles through several
Dash
transformations.
and
But
Adrenaline
Darwin
love.
explodes in light, disintegrating in front of everyone. The Ice Head. In X-Men Days of Future Past, the Chinese monastery in 2023 becomes a war zone. The Sentinels have already broken through the defenses, and every second is crucial to maintain Wolverine's mental link to the past. Iceman
Server
runs
settings.
against time, creating an ice bridge through the air, trying to help Kitty Pryde escape. Cold spreads across the entire environment, freezing walls, columns, and even the floor, while the Sentinels keep advancing. Bobby slides across the ice and fires freezing blasts, covering the robot in a thick layer of ice. For a
Public.
moment it seems to work, but the Sentinel reacts. The frozen shell shatters and the robot absorbs the thermal energy, converting it into pure heat. The flaming Sentinel grabs Bobby by the neck and holds him until he can't breathe. Right after, his head is often stomped into pieces. In seconds, the hero breaks apart, scattering frozen crystals all over the ground. Last strike. In the same movie, Storm is also at the Chinese monastery, helping the surviving mutants defend themselves from the Sentinels. She summons a massive storm, whipping up winds and snow that slow the robots down and knock several of them out of the air, buying time for her allies. While she moves the winds, Storm turns quickly, but for a brief moment, her back is exposed. A Sentinel seizes the opportunity and, without warning, charges and impales Storm from behind with a sharp blade that extends from its body. The attack is instant and lethal. Her body is then thrown into the abyss and falls already lifeless. The Last Kiss. Still in X-Men The Last Stand, Cyclops returns to Alkali Lake, still shaken by Jean Grey's apparent death.
Hell yeah, man, we got this.
He's alone and then removes his visor and blasts the water as a way to release his pain. Suddenly, Jean appears. She's now completely consumed by the Dark Phoenix, and her presence is overwhelming. Scott recognizes
Loki, hi. Yo, hi there, motherfucker.
isn't the same anymore. She then asks him to take off his visor. He tries to refuse, but she insists, and then takes control of his optic blasts. They get closer and share a kiss. At the moment they touch, Jean's power manifests. The Phoenix's energy engulfs Scott in an intense, uncontrollable way. He isn't attacked physically, but the force wrapping around him is so great that his body starts to change. Wolverine and Storm arrive later at the site and find only his visor floating, confirming that Scott Summers is dead. The Dark Phoenix killed him. Disintegrated. Still in X-Men, The Last Stand, Professor Xavier and Magneto follow Jean to the old Grey family home, trying to handle the situation before everything gets out of control, since she's possessed by the Dark Phoenix. Magneto tries to convince her to embrace her power and join his cause, promising freedom, while Xavier insists she must regain control. The clash between them increases Jean's instability. She stands up and, consumed by the Phoenix, begins destroying the house. Walls crack, furniture flies, and the energy around them grows quickly. Xavier tries to approach and appeal to Jean's human side, coughing and reaching out, but the Phoenix doesn't respond. She lifts him into the air and unleashes all the built-up power on him. The force is immediate and intense. Xavier's body begins to fragment rapidly. He vanishes completely.
They're all yours, Travelers Gaming. Hell yeah. Well, you're being a bitch. How about shut the
Even
fuck
after
up?
disintegrating in front of the Phoenix, Xavier wasn't completely destroyed. His mind was
Ow.
transferred into the body of a comatose patient identified as his brain-dead twin brother. That way, his consciousness survived, remaining intact even after what seemed like a definitive sacrifice. The professor's
That's
dead,
it.
and now we
No,
finally have the
no,
true
that
final
dude, that's
test
it. You're
of
getting
the
the
professor.
subspace.
In
You're getting
Logan,
subspace.
Professor Charles Xavier is at the Munson family
Oh, look
farm,
you.
seeking
Ooh, what's
refuge
this?
with Logan and Laura. Tension rises when X-24, the young and feral clone of Wolverine, invades the place. Xavier, weakened by his neurodegenerative illness, mistakes the clone for Logan. He speaks calmly, saying that this had been the best night he'd had in a very long time. Suddenly, X-24 attacks. Without hesitation, he impales Xavier through the chest with his claws. The impact is immediate and brutal. Xavier screams in confusion, realizing only in his final moments that this is not Logan. The death is quick, and there is no way to defend himself. The clone's strength completely pierces his body. Laura tries to fight X-24, but he is far stronger and kills everyone else, then tries to kidnap the girl. Logan arrives shortly after, but it's already too late. He finds Xavier's lifeless body, and then the bodies of all the other family members in the house. Later, honoring the professor's wish to be near water, Logan buries him by a lake. The last fray. Logan's end comes in the middle of a forest during an intense fight. He is exhausted, wounded, and his body is being poisoned by the very metal that once made him invincible. Beside him, Laura and a group of young mutants try to escape the Reavers, but the true nightmare returns. X-24. The battle is brutal. Logan tries to fight back, but his body no longer responds, until X-24 violently hurls him against a broken tree trunk, and the sharp stump impales him. Logan then begins to die slowly. Seeing this, Laura reacts. With the only adamantium bullet that Logan himself had kept, she shoots and the monster goes down. The danger is over, but the scene doesn't get any lighter. Laura runs to him, calling him a daddy for the first time.
You don't have to fight
shares a true father-daughter moment with her. Our beloved Wolverine then finally rests in peace. Lethal Iron. In X-Men 2, Magneto is imprisoned in a high-security plastic cell, designed to prevent him from using his powers, since there is no metal anywhere in the environment. While he is contained, Mystique, in disguise, secretly injects a guard with a solution rich in iron.
So, what the fuck? Yo, Builderman, what should I... Hey, should I jerk off? Yes, please. How do I get exclusive?
I can't afford therapy. You can afford that much.
How do I...
No, it's like $15 a session.
Girl, you gotta get therapy.
With Rula, getting help is easier than talking yourself.
The package on the porch that almost
Holy
disappeared.
hell.
Those guys that shouldn't be there. Your cat that has no fear. No matter where you travel, in a second, you're connected. A tap is all it takes to know that everything's protected. The car that's in the driveway, your shed that stores a lot, the door that might be open, that delivery you forgot. Whatever's up at home, keep your vacation unaffected. Whatever it is, when you have Ring, you can be sure that it's protected. Protect your home today at Ring.com.
When Magneto
Let's check
senses
your
there is metal
profile.
in the
Holy
he
shit, you have a
reacts.
fire
Using
profile.
his magnetic
My
powers, he
profile
begins
looks like...
extracting the iron from the man's blood.
They say my hunger's a problem. They tell me to keep my appetite, but my desire is bottomless. I wanna sing your soul and need till I get sick. The sputter, all I wanna see you come undone, unsatisfied until I got your flame. I have a play, I have a taste, what you're saying to them. We're praying on a future thing. Alright, let me teleport real quick so I can start building.
While small streams and spheres of iron float in the air, suspended by Magneto's control. The newly extracted metal allows Magneto to take his next step. He uses the iron spheres and strands to destroy the cell, finally escaping.
Server settings. Am I able to, okay. Okay, let's see, where are you? Okay, just join the invite. Okay, I think we both invited you.
Divine End. In X-Men Apocalypse, the final battle unfolds in an intense confrontation between Apocalypse and the X-Men. Apocalypse absorbs the powers of several mutants, resisting the team's combined attacks and displaying nearly invincible strength. Magneto pierces his body with metal stakes, trying to pin him down, while Cyclops fires
Let me
concentrated
test
optic
something real
blasts.
quick here.
Storm uses her powers to create barriers and prevent the villain's escape, trapping him in the battlefield. With the situation becoming desperate, Professor Xavier encourages Jean Grey to unleash her full potential. Jean focuses her mind and energy, transforming into the Phoenix. A massive wave of psychic and cosmic energy surrounds Apocalypse, who tries to resist, but the force is far greater than anything he's ever possessed. The energy begins to disintegrate his body as he struggles to remain standing. Apocalypse is completely overwhelmed by the Phoenix. The energy consumes his physical form, eliminating his defenses and gradually destroying him. Every previous attack from the X-Men has weakened him, but it's Jean's power that delivers the final blow. In seconds, Apocalypse is disintegrated without leaving a trace. Impaled. In X-Men Dark Phoenix, Mystique's death happens in a quiet suburban neighborhood, but the calm quickly turns into chaos. The X-Men arrive at the
Dude, where's my building tools? Where's my building tools?
She's completely taken over by the Phoenix Force, radiating unstable energy that shakes the ground and cracks the walls. Amid the destruction, Mystique chooses a different approach. No violence, no powers.
I got B tools! I got B tools!
The situation, she walks toward Jean calmly, asking her to breathe, to remember who she is. There's a moment of silence, a glimpse of humanity in Jean's eyes. Before everything collapses,
got
Jean
B
panics.
tools.
Her power erupts and Mystique is thrown into debris, impaled by
Hi. What's
The sound stops.
heart?
For a second, everything
Heart attack.
He leaves and abandons Mystique
Oh,
bleeding and
heart attack.
Hank rushes toward her, but there's nothing he can do. She slowly dies in front of the X-Men. The massacre.
Hi, Rexton.
Back in X-Men Days of Future Past, the dystopian future shows surviving mutants fighting against hyper-advanced Sentinels, adaptive and lethal machines that hunt down any mutant they encounter. The battle scenes are brutal. Colossus, even in his metal form, has his head crushed. Sunspot tries to unleash all his power against one of them, but it's useless. His power is neutralized and he is quickly strangled to death. Iceman, like we mentioned earlier, shields himself using his frozen body, but he ends up with his neck broken and his head shattered
I don't
by a
know.
Sentinel.
I don't know. I put this on public. I don't know. I put this on public.
Blink, a teleportation expert, is also hunted by a Sentinel that can adapt through her portals, and moments later she is impaled by one of its arms.
Oh, hola. ¿Cómo estás? I can't tell you. Yeah.
Warpath attempts a final strike to buy time for Kitty Pryde and Bishop. He pulls out his knife and charges into battle, but the Sentinel kills him in seconds with one of its energy blasts. The deaths are quick, and at this point in the film it seems impossible to defeat them.
Clone. Hit him with a... Run, rabbit, run.
Fatal X-Force.
Wild, run,
Deadpool
rabbit.
assembles X-Force to rescue Russell, but the mission quickly turns into a complete disaster, with almost every member dying in absurd and immediate ways. Bedlam, who manipulates technology and electricity, is the first victim. As he tries to land with his parachute when something goes wrong, and he crashes against a bus windshield, dying instantly with no chance to react. Next, Shatterstar lands inside a helicopter and is shredded by the blades, disappearing in pieces.
Well, I guess we found something you're not better at.
Vanisher, the invisible hero, is the third victim. He accidentally touches high voltage wires and is instantly electrocuted, becoming visible only for a few seconds before dying. And that's when we see Brad Pitt's cameo. Zeitgeist falls into a garbage truck, but survives at first. Peter W., down with no superpowers, tries to help him after he's injured, but ends up getting hit by Zeitgeist's acidic bomb, which partially melts his face. Moments later, Zeitgeist is crushed by the garbage truck. Later, Deadpool goes back in time using Cable's device and saves Peter, making sure at least one member of the team survives. Human Shield. In Deadpool and Wolverine, Nightpool is a kind of star-free variant of Deadpool. Joins a shootout against a group made up of different Deadpool variants. During the chaos, the main Deadpool grabs Nightpool, uses him as a human shield to protect himself from Lady Blue's bullets. The problem is that Nightpool is just a normal human, with no mutant abilities or human factor. He is shot repeatedly in the torso, each bullet causing severe and fatal injuries. Even wounded Deadpool keeps using him as a shield and encourages him to say out loud that he's going to survive, but those are false hopes. Because seconds later, Nightpool is shot in the head and dies. At least, in the end, Deadpool kept Dogpool. Which death surprised you the most? Comment below. And don't forget to leave your like and subscribe for more videos. On the screen, there's a video where we show the most painful deaths in superhero movies. Click and watch. See you there.
What's this brand?
These parts we don't pay being branded nothing. Also means the same
Why are you doing? What the fuck
That's
are
why
you
throughout
doing?
the movies he started investing heavily in safety measures, not just to protect himself, but also the people he loves. This lesson showed up years later when he installed trackers in his suits, as we saw when Peter Parker discovered the GPS in Wisconsin.
Son of a bitch!
Everyone thought he was just fooling around with his hands.
Brother!
But in reality, Tony was about to fix a fundamental flaw, the lack of stability during flight. When he activated the wrist thrusters, he was surprised by the strength and unexpected control they gave him. The result was so good that he immediately realized the potential of using them as
No, we can play. Do you want to fight some bitches too?
his suits in the air. Before that, Tony had trouble keeping balance.
Louis
especially
A.
when
Shut
trying
the
to hover or
fuck up.
change
Shut the
direction
fuck
quickly.
up.
That mistake could have cost him dearly in a real fight. By turning that early failure into a new system, he created one of
You
Iron Man's
are headed.
most
You.
iconic These stabilizers became a
Yeah.
core element of the armor, allowing Tony not only to fly
Yes.
with precision, but also to shoot and
Yes.
maneuver at the same time, something
Yeah.
crucial in aerial battles.
Holy shit! Holy shit!
Frozen armor. In one of the tensest moments building the Mark II, Tony decided to take his new creation on a bold test flight.
Shut up! Shut up before.
Until suddenly, the armor began to freeze. The
Look,
visor
he's gonna
fogged
correct
up,
you.
the systems locked, and Tony completely lost control. He plummeted from the sky, learning the hard way that technology without preparation can fail at the worst possible time.
Oh shit! Dude.
The mistake was clear. He hadn't considered the effects of low temperatures at high altitudes.
No.
The sudden climate change and the internal condensation made things worse. That accident could have been fatal, and it became one of Iron Man's most important lessons. To fix it, Tony ran new material tests.
It's on public.
He replaced the
It's
original
on
alloy
public.
with a mix of titanium and gold, which had a much lower freezing point and excellent heat conductivity. That change not only removed the risk of freezing, but also made his suits far more reliable for long flights and extreme conditions.
Oh shit!
During the intense fight against
Holy
Whiplash
shit.
on the Monaco racetrack in Iron Man 2, Tony Stark found himself in a situation that almost cost him his life. Caught in the chaos, he was at a huge disadvantage because his suit wasn't
I will pump you.
effort to throw him the suitcase so he could finally suit up. Way too long when someone's trying to kill you. That moment was a real wake-up call. Tony realized that no matter how advanced his tech was, it was useless if he couldn't keep up with the right time. The delay to suit up was a serious flaw, a dangerous gap his enemies could exploit. Determined to make sure it never happened again, he started working on a new system. The first solution came with the Mark VII, equipped with a special wristband that remotely summoned the armor, allowing it to fly straight to Tony and attach automatically.
Yes.
But Tony didn't
What
stop there. This
should I
idea
put?
evolved into nanotechnology, seen in the Mark L suits, allowing the armor to instantly form around his body.
Okay, now.
Tony also developed nanotech gloves with mini arc reactors built in. These gloves worked as an emergency armor, offering minimal protection and enough energy to withstand attacks until the full suit could assemble.
Holy shit.
No redirection. In the Avengers, Tony
building.
Stark faced one of Marvel's most powerful heroes, Thor, in the middle of a forest.
Holy
While
shit,
arguing about
man.
Loki, the god of thunder struck Iron Man with a lightning bolt. The armor absorbed the electric blast, but Tony had no system to redirect it. The result was chaotic. Even though the power temporarily boosted his repulsors, it all happened in a raw, uncontrolled
Dude,
state. Tony
dude,
realized he was wasting massive amounts of energy and leaving himself vulnerable if the attack had been stronger or repeated. That moment struck him as a major strategic failure. Years later, when designing the Mark 50 suit, Tony fixed it. He added a lightning
With the OG map.
system capable of converting extreme electrical energy into offensive power. With that upgrade, everyone's been an unexpected distance.
build something.
Still during the New York invasion, Tony Stark realized a huge limitation. Protecting civilians and keeping control of the situation was nearly impossible, even with the entire Avengers team working together. He understood that relying only on his presence and direct help from his teammates wasn't enough. To handle large-scale threats, he needed reinforcements that could act autonomously and support his combat strategy. The solution came as the Air Legion, Peter Arnold's ability to control the air. This innovation allowed him to cover larger areas, protect civilians, and respond quickly to multiple threats at once without having to be everywhere at the same time. And with Hulkbuster, also an Avenger, Tony Stark saw Hulk lose control, causing massive destruction. It wasn't a direct escape from his
As you believe.
become dangerous. The answer came in the form of the Hulkbuster, a suit specifically to neutralize Hulk in case he ever lost control again. The project was developed in collaboration with Bruce Banner, combining Stark tech with Hulk's own knowledge to create containment and combat systems that balance strength and safety. Lack of stability. During the battle in Avengers Age of Ultron, Tony Stark had to drill into the core
Guess I like
of Sokovia,
cats.
and the scene made a serious problem clear. He had to balance himself with one hand while operating with the other. That moment showed that in extreme situations, relying on his own balance was risky and inefficient. For future missions, he realized he needed a system that could guarantee stability on any surface or in any condition. The solution came in the form of integrated anchoring systems in his later armors, allowing him to latch onto objects, surfaces, or even moving ships. This innovation not only improved his combat safety, but also boosted his operational efficiency, letting him focus completely on critical actions without worrying about
This is
staying
3DX's
balanced.
brother. Oh, this is 3DX's brother.
During the fight with Aldrich Killian in Iron Man 3 and later against Hulk in
This is
Avengers
3DX's
Age of
brother.
Ultron, Tony realized a serious flaw in his arsenal. His traditional repulsors and missiles simply weren't strong enough to deal with extreme level enemies, especially those with superhuman powers or massive strength. That limitation almost cost him dearly. When facing stronger opponents, he understood he needed firepower that matched their level. That's how, years later, the Mark 50 armor was born, equipped with more powerful energy weapons, modular cannons, and blades formed through nanotechnology. With this new level of offense, Tony managed to fight Thanos, showing just how much he had evolved since those early battles. Failure in the cold. During the invasion of Killian's base in Iron Man 3, he faced a serious problem. His suit simply wasn't built for freezing temperatures, even though he had already solved the freezing issue. Amid the intense cold, the system started failing, compromising his breathing and key armor functions. That left him vulnerable and almost defenseless, a dangerous situation that could have cost him his life. That experience made it clear that he needed a suit capable of withstanding any hostile environment. The answer came through a full thermal system upgrade. Tony added internal heaters, reinforced insulation, and real-time temperature control. These improvements didn't just benefit him. By creating Spider-Man's suit, Tony applied technology to make sure Peter Parker could operate in extreme conditions, including high altitudes and freezing temperatures. Intense heat, going from cold to heat. During the battle against Killian, Tony discovered another weakness. His armor couldn't withstand extreme heat. In the middle of the fight, the heat generated by Killian's abilities was so intense, it melted parts of the armor, making it literally start to fall apart. That left Tony completely exposed in one of the most critical moments of the fight. It was a mistake that could have cost him his life. And Tony didn't ignore that lesson. When developing his later suits, he added stronger materials and internal cooling systems capable of withstanding extreme temperatures without compromising the structure. Those improvements became clear in Avengers Age of Ultron, when Sokovia began to fall and the friction with the atmosphere created insane heat levels. This failure was one of the strongest.
What? Oh.
worst allergy symptoms so you can start feeling better the same day and save your relationship with nature. Flonase.
Get your business up and running from anywhere with the Shopify app. Design and launch your store in minutes. Add products with a few taps and manage it all on the go. When it's time to start selling,
What the hell's
it's
game
time for
controller?
Shopify. Download the Shopify app
Gay.
today.
Game.
Hello there. Oh,
Start.
I'm sorry.
no,
Who are
dude.
you? I'm Liberty Liberty, and I'm here to tell everyone it feels great getting great coverage and savings on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. What was that? Hi, I'm Liberty Liberty. Great coverage, great savings. Liberty, Liberty, Liberty.
I'm gonna tell you who I am.
Life hacked. In Iron Man 3, Tony Stark made one of the most reckless mistakes of his life. After publicly challenging the Mandarin, he revealed his own home address, believing he could handle any threat that came his way. That impulsive move not only put his own life in danger, but also the life of the person he loved most. Soon after, armed helicopters attacked his mansion, destroying everything and nearly killing Pepper Potts. That moment deeply marked Tony, showing him that his arrogance could have cost Pepper her life. It was then that the rescue suit was born, a special armor made specifically for Pepper. Unlike Tony's other creations, this armor was designed with protection and agility in mind, along with an impressive offensive capacity. In Avengers Endgame, Pepper used the suit with incredible efficiency. Weak defenses at the mansion. Within that same mistake, Tony made another serious one, underestimating his enemies and keeping his home's defenses limited. When his Malibu mansion was attacked, it was destroyed within minutes, leaving him exposed and without resources. Tony realized that if his own house could be taken down that easily, then any Avengers base would face the same risk. From
I
that
will
point
fight a
on,
cat!
investing in advanced defense systems, proximity sensors, automated turrets, and reinforced security barriers. What was once just a luxury home became the inspiration for the high-tech fortress used at the Avengers headquarters, making surprise attacks much harder to pull off. Low propulsion power. During the chase of the Good Day in Captain America: Civil War, Tony discovered a critical limitation. His propulsion wasn't strong enough to reach fast-moving targets. He tried to keep up with the jet, but the limited speed of his suit left him behind. Learning from that mistake, he upgraded propulsion to feature models in the suit.
Aspen!
Infinity War, more powerful and efficient turbines allowed him to reach targets much faster, even in extreme environments. These improvements also enabled high-speed maneuvers in air and space, making Tony agile and versatile. Tony realized that speed wasn't a luxury, it was a strategic necessity. Low propulsion power was a weakness that, if left uncorrected, could cost lives in critical battles. Bad aim. During the fight against Bucky of Captain America: Civil War, Tony faced a serious issue. The targeting system in his armor was heavily damaged. That hurt his precision in long-range combat, making it hard to hit moving targets quickly. Learning from that, he implemented an advanced solution in the Mark 50, a mental auto-aim system.
Don't you want to play some? Have some fun. Na 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 na.
Dramatically improving accuracy.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Brutal fall after an accidental blast sent him crashing.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la
He
la.
realized that if he wanted to have allies in battle, he needed to make sure they were protected even in extreme situations. That's when Tony started adding advanced safety systems to the armors.
Yo, build something. Yo,
Automatic
build
parachutes,
something.
fall stabilizers, and emergency protocols, including Spider-Man's
Don't make
suit.
it-
That change wasn't just technical, it was emotional. Tony learned that being a leader wasn't only about fighting beside
Potato
others, but
thing.
ensuring they all made it back
Don't
home
make it the
alive.
potato thing.
Fragile helmet.
You're my brother.
In the final fight of Captain America's Civil
You're my
War,
brother.
Tony Stark faced Steve Rogers in a brutal battle. Amid the blows,
You're getting your
Steve hit
brother.
Tony's helmet directly, shattering it with ease and exposing his face completely. It was a critical moment. Without
What
hesitation,
now?
he was vulnerable to any hit. That experience deeply
What you
affected
want?
Tony, making him
What
realize that
now?
no matter how strong his armor was, his head remained a weak spot. Determined not to repeat that mistake, he reinforced the helmet in later models, making it more durable and capable of regenerating instantly during combat. That helmet indestructible and extremely dangerous, making any direct attack almost suicidal. Together with the Avengers, he
Three?
the gauntlet off Thanos' hand.
No, I'm actually not kidding. I'm not
Knowing
kidding.
he couldn't just rip it away, Tony used his genius to upgrade the
There's
Mark
three.
85's nanotechnology. He incorporated a system capable of tracking and manipulating the Infinity Stone's energy, allowing the suit to adapt in real time to the power they released. With that upgrade, Tony managed to steal the stones from Thanos, and in that final defining moment, he delivered the blow that saved the universe.
Hawaii.
On screen,
It's all the way in Hawaii.
dumbest decisions ever made in superhero
They're all the way in
movies.
Hawaii.
I'll see you there.
Yeah.
At Zaxby's, you don't just get chicken fingers. You get the sauce.
Damn.
You got the sauce.
I can't keep track of all my subscriptions.
Hawaii.
But my BFF Xfinity
Hawaii.
can and could help me easily cancel the ones I don't need. Get the Experian app now.
Spidey Super Stories. A lot of people think Spider-Man's first appearance was with Tobey Maguire, but they're wrong. It actually started way back in the 1970s. Spidey Super Stories aired as part of the children's show The Electric Company from 1974 to 1977. The segment had a clear goal, to encourage kids to read and write. To do that, Spider-Man didn't actually talk. He communicated through speech balloons on the screen, just like in the comic books. That way, kids had to read to follow the story, turning learning into something fun.
And he's found it. A rubber glove sandwich.
It also marked Spider-Man's first live-action appearance on TV. The hero was always played by Danny Segrin, while the villains and other characters were performed by the show's regular cast. Even Morgan Freeman took part as a narrator, and sometimes as a supporting character in a few segments. Because of the low budget, the visual effects were pretty basic.
That was good, guys.
Is this the end of Spidey?
That was good.
29 episodes of about 5 minutes each were produced. Despite the simplicity, Spidey Super
What's up,
Stories
guys?
proved there was real interest in seeing Spider-Man on TV. The Amazing Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man series from 1977 was the first
Why
attempt
are
to
you-
bring the web-slinging hero to live-action television. It aired on CBS from September 14, 1977
Matrix.
to July 6,
It was for the Matrix.
1979, with only 2 seasons and 13 episodes, including the pilot. Even though it was short-lived, it became iconic and is still remembered fondly by fans today. The show presented an adapted version of Peter Parker's classic
No getting
origin.
freaky. No getting
Student
freaky,
who, after
dude.
being bitten by a
No getting
radioactive spider,
freaky.
gains agility, strength, and the ability to climb walls. Unlike later versions,
I
he
said-
builds his own web shooters and
Let's
starts
give-
working as a
let's
photographer
give-
for the
let's
Daily
give-
Bugle, where he constantly deals with his tough boss, J. Jonah Jameson. Peter Parker was played by Nicholas Hammond, whose performance was known for portraying a more serious and responsible
No getting freaky.
character. Regular episodes lasted about 40 to 45 minutes.
Freaky?
While the pilot,
No.
released in
Freaky,
1977,
no.
was produced as a 90-minute TV movie. That first
No.
episode told the
No,
hero's
no,
origin
no,
story,
no.
the discovery of his powers, and the creation of the Spider-Man identity. One of the most talked about aspects of the Amazing Spider-Man is its
Gay-
technical
gay
and
pop.
budget limitations.
I'm other riot.
Since TV at the time didn't have advanced resources, climbing scenes were done with wires and practical effects. No CGI or big fight sequences. Also, most of the villains were original or generic characters instead of the iconic ones in the comics. That ended up disappointing fans who wanted to see familiar Marvel enemies.
What? Someone call me?
Even though it feels dated today, The Amazing Spider-Man paved the way for the hero's future adaptations.
But I'm wrong.
The Sam Raimi trilogy. Now we enter
But
one
I'm
of the
rebel.
greatest eras in Spider-Man history.
Leo, what the
Released
fuck?
between 2002 and 2007, Sam Raimi's trilogy showed the
Damn.
world that comic book stories could be
Damn.
adapted with emotion, humanity, and stunning visuals. It won over audiences worldwide and paved the way for the superhero movie boom that followed. The first film, released in 2002, introduced Peter
Damn.
Parker, A shy young man who discovers his powers after being bitten by a radioactive spider.
Thanks.
The movie balances action and drama, but it's also a coming-of-age story. It features one of the most iconic scenes in all superhero cinema, Uncle Ben's death, followed by the legendary line, that
When?
becomes the foundation of Peter's journey, defining his moral code for years to come. The film's massive success proved audiences were ready to take comic book heroes seriously. 2 years later,
What?
Spider-Man 2 raised the bar even higher. It's often remembered as one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. Its biggest strength is the balance between Peter's personal life and the sacrifices of being Spider-Man. The story explores his doubts, vulnerabilities, and even his desire to give up being a hero. Meanwhile,
Gotta
Dr.
go.
Octopus, played brilliantly by Alfred Molina, emerges as a tragic figure, a man destroyed by his own ambition and a failed
Okay,
experiment. The climax, when he
save.
sacrifices himself to destroy his creation and save the city, reinforces the movie's themes of responsibility and redemption. The emotional weight and groundbreaking visuals even earned the film an Oscar for Best Visual Effects. Then came Spider-Man 3 in 2007, which divided fans. Peter faces the symbiote that amplifies his darker side, while also dealing with multiple villains, Sandman, Venom, and Harry Osborn as the new Goblin. Many critics felt the movie had too many storylines and characters, but it still delivered unforgettable moments.
But you can't kill.
Despite mixed reviews, it was a box office hit and cemented the trilogy as a major milestone in cinema. A fourth film was already in development, with Sam Raimi ready to continue the saga, but creative differences between him and the studio led to its cancellation. The Raimi era was over, and Sony made a bold move: reboot everything from scratch. But did it work? Let's find out. Andrew Garfield's Spidey. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man brought a different, yet deeply emotional take on the hero. Sony's goal was to reboot the franchise, presenting a younger, more modern, and emotionally driven Peter Parker. In the first movie, released in 2012, we follow Peter as a teenager living with Uncle Ben and Aunt May. Unlike the previous version, this story dives into the Parker family's past, revealing that Richard and Mary Parker, Peter's parents, were involved in secret research that ultimately connects to his powers. Here, the famous quote, "With great power comes great responsibility," is never spoken directly, but the theme of responsibility still defines the story, especially after Uncle Ben's death. That event, as always, becomes the catalyst for Peter to fully embrace his heroic journey. Peter's relationship with Gwen Stacy becomes the emotional core of the film. Unlike the romance with Mary Jane in the previous trilogy, Peter and Gwen's relationship feels more genuine and balanced, largely thanks to Garfield and Stone's real-life chemistry.
On commutes across America, money is being left behind. Save the money. Check Lyft.
Imagine if that pile of stuff to clean disappeared. Introducing the revolutionary new Tide Evo. So clean, it disappears.
Nature Made. Take charge of your gut health for a good gut day every day.
You like more meal. We like making it. That's why we made sure Arby's $7.99 meat in 3-packs even more flavor. With the new saucy buffalo ranch and 3 sides. Only Arby's packs in this much for $7.99.
Arby's, we have the meat.
Grab a mic and a hat, follow me
Lizard, Dr. Kurt Connors, a large-scale threat, but the story's focus remains on Peter's personal growth. In The Amazing Spider-Man 2, we see both the peak and downfall of this version of the hero. Visually, it's one of the most stunning and well-made Spider-Man films ever. Honestly, it might have the best suit in movie history. Seriously, just look at it. And man, that opening scene gives me chills every single time. The plot expands on Peter's parents' past and his struggles as a hero. He faces Electro, played by Jamie Foxx, and also deals with the return of Harry Osborn, who becomes the Green Goblin. But it's the tragic arc with Gwen Stacy that makes this movie unforgettable. In the clock tower scene, Peter desperately tries to save Gwen after the Goblin's attack, but fails. Her death remains one of the most heartbreaking moments in all of Spider-Man's cinematic history, with Andrew Garfield delivering a raw, emotional performance that deeply moved audiences.
Stay with me, stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Gwen. Oh, please.
That loss not only ends their love story, but also reinforces the theme of responsibility that always defines the character. Unfortunately, the franchise was cut short after the second film, leaving several plot lines unfinished. To this day, I still hope we'll one day find out what happened after that final showdown with Rhino. Tom's Spidey. After The Amazing Spider-Man was canceled by Sony, rumors started spreading about a new Spider-Man. And even better, this time he would join the MCU. And man, thank goodness that happened.
On the roof! Hey, everyone.
Tom Holland's Spider-Man represents the youngest version of the hero to date. Officially introduced in Captain America: Civil War, Holland brought a lighter, more playful energy to Peter Parker, perfectly balancing action, humor, and heart. It's a take that really captures the original spirit created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Tom Holland's first appearance as Peter Parker in Civil War was a huge moment, not only because it introduced a new Spider-Man, but because it immediately placed him in the middle of a battle between Earth's mightiest heroes. The airport fight scene alongside Iron Man and the Avengers quickly showed that this Peter is fast, smart, and bold, though still inexperienced. His witty humor and spontaneous jokes come naturally, without taking away from the tension or stakes of the action scenes. That mix helped create a Spider-Man that's easy for younger audiences to connect with, while still being charming for longtime fans. In the MCU, Tom Holland's Peter Parker is deeply shaped by his bond with Tony Stark, a mentor and father figure. In Spider-Man: Homecoming, Stark gives the young hero his first advanced suit, equipped with AI systems, surveillance tech, and eventually the iconic Iron Spider armor, one of the most high-tech versions ever seen on screen. That mentor-student relationship adds a strong emotional layer, which hits even harder in Avengers: Endgame, when Tony Stark dies, leaving Peter devastated and forced to face what it means to be a hero without his mentor's guidance. He also loses Aunt May in No Way Home, and right before she dies, she delivers the iconic line,
"And with great power, there must also come great responsibility."
Beyond his solo films, Peter Parker plays a major role in the MCU's biggest events. In Avengers: Infinity War, he joins the fight against Thanos, showing courage, quick thinking, and teamwork. In Endgame, his role is smaller but meaningful, symbolizing continuity and hope for the next generation of heroes. His suits also evolve, featuring Stark technology, smart webs, scanners, drones, combat systems, and even stealth capabilities. Each version of his suit reflects Peter's growth and adaptation to the challenges he faces. In the end, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is both the teenage Peter Parker we all know and love, and a modern, tech-savvy, emotionally layered hero who battles supervillains, multiversal chaos, and personal loss, all while staying true to the heart and soul of the character. The Three Spiders. Spider-Man: No Way Home is a cinematic milestone, not just for the MCU, but for superhero movies as a whole, for bringing together officially and emotionally all three generations of Spider-Man. The meeting of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland is much more than a simple crossover. It's a love letter to fans and a celebration of every era that shaped the web slinger's legacy. The story begins with Tom Holland's Peter Parker trying to fix his identity crisis.
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker.
After his secret identity is revealed at the end of the previous movie, he turns to Doctor Strange for help, hoping to make the world forget he's Spider-Man. But the spell goes wrong, ripping open the multiverse and bringing in villains from other universes, including Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, and Electro.
Octavius? Osborn?
What happened to you?
What happened to... You're the walking corpse.
What do you mean?
You died.
Amid the chaos, the other two Spider-Men, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, appear each from their own timelines, carrying all the emotional weight and history of their past films. And if you're a true Spider-Man fan, I'm sure your reaction was something like this. Their first meeting is pure emotion and nostalgia.
My Uncle Ben was killed. It was my fault. I lost Gwen. She was my MJ. I couldn't save her. I'm never gonna be able to forgive myself for that.
What makes it so special is the perfect mix of humor, action, and deep emotion. They open up about their mistakes, remember the pain of losing Uncle Ben and Gwen Stacy, and teach each other lessons about courage, sacrifice, and forgiveness. The lab scene where they joke around and share web shooting tips is one of the most heartwarming and funny moments in the movie. Finally letting fans see interactions that were once only a dream.
You can't do that, huh?
No? How on earth does that even... Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. Look.
References to past films are everywhere. And come on, and I know you got emotional when Andrew redeemed himself by saving MJ.
Are you okay?
Together, the three Spider-Men strike a perfect balance between nostalgia and innovation. Their team up is a tribute to fans who grew up watching Tobey and Andrew, while solidifying Tom Holland's Spider-Man as the heart of the new era.
Wait.
I love you guys.
Thank you.
And, well, by the end of the film, Peter finally gets what he asked for. Everyone forgets who Peter Parker is, including his best friend and girlfriend. The new movie, Spider-Man. Brand new day hits theaters on July 31st, 2026. Tom Holland returns as Peter Parker, trying to rebuild his life after the events of No Way Home, dealing with the pain of being forgotten by everyone he loves. Zendaya is back as MJ, and Sadie Sink joins the cast in a mysterious role that's sure to shake things up. Directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, plot details are still under wraps, but we already know that Jon Bernthal will appear as the Punisher, alongside villains Scorpion and Tombstone. For now, all we can do is wait for more news about the next chapter of our friendly neighborhood hero. But tell me, who's your favorite Spider-Man on the big screen? Tobey, Andrew, or Tom Holland? And on your screen right now, there's a video showing every time Spider-Man's identity was exposed in the movies. Click to watch. I'll see you there.
Sell everywhere your customers are. Online, in AI chats, or walking through your door. With every sale managed in one place. Your customers are waiting.
Why AAA? Because you're stuck in a rut, literally. Because you're out of gas. And in a pickle. Because stuff happens. And AAA is the most trusted roadside assistance. Join today and add a second AAA membership free.
Train? Well, I have to start with my favorite Spider-Man scene. In Spider-Man 2, the city's calm turns into panic when Dr. Octopus attacks a moving train and completely destroys the braking system. The train shoots down the tracks with zero control while the passengers panic as they realize no one can stop it. It feels like disaster is inevitable. But then our hero shows up. In one of the character's best scenes, Peter takes off his mask and starts firing webs, connecting the train to nearby structures, trying to use the city itself as an anchor. Man, when I was a kid, I used to reenact this scene all the time at home. The train doesn't slow down, and Spider-Man tries everything, but nothing works. His arms stretch to the limit, the webs start creaking, buildings begin to crack apart, and the pain is written all over the hero's face. At the very last moment, with one final effort that feels beyond human, the train finally stops, right on the edge before falling. Spider-Man collapses unconscious, caught by the very passengers he saved. When they see the face behind the mask, there's shock, but also respect. Everyone realizes that the great hero is just a kid. They carefully carry him and swear to protect his identity. Seriously, absolute cinema. We had a similar scene in our next case. The Ferry. In Spider-Man: Homecoming, Peter Parker arrives at the Staten Island ferry following an illegal weapons deal and believes he can handle everything on his own. The fight starts tight, with the Vulture's goons reacting better than he expected. He even manages to hold them off, but when the Vulture joins the fight, things spiral out of control. In the middle of the chaos, one of the alien weapons fires by accident and unleashes multiple blasts. The ferry's structure starts to groan, metal plates shift, and within seconds the ship begins to split apart. Passengers panic as water starts rushing in through the cracks. Peter looks around and realizes there are no villains to punch right now. The problem is much bigger. He shoots webs in every direction, connects pillars, vehicles, cables, and tries to use his own body to pull everything back together. His arms shake, the suit stretches, and the effort feels impossible. Every second, the ferry splits wider, completely ignoring Spider-Man's strength. And, well, watching them back to back, you can clearly see the reference to the train scene, but here the outcome is different. When failure becomes inevitable, thrusters cut through the sky and Iron Man shows up, not very happy. Tony Stark acts fast, welds the two halves of the ferry together, and stabilizes the situation. In the next scene, he faces Peter with no patience, removes his tech suit, and makes it clear that things went too far.
Okay, it's not working out. I'm gonna need you.
In the end, this helps Spider-Man understand that he's not who he is because of the suit, but because of who he is. I'll admit I wasn't a huge fan of this movie, but every time I rewatch it, I like it more and more. The meeting. While preparing for the final confrontation in Spider-Man: No Way Home, the three Spider-Men are gathered on the Statue of Liberty in a rare moment of calm during the chaos. They analyze the situation, adjust the plan, and assign roles to deal with the villains and send them back to their universes. In the middle of this strategic alignment, the youngest Peter uses the knowledge he gained with the Avengers to coordinate the attacks. Andrew Garfield's Peter then says he loves them, and right after that, the mood shifts. They split into position, count down, and jump at the same time, each heading toward a different threat, creating one of the most epic scenes in all Spider-Man movies. Iron Spider. Right at the beginning of Avengers, Infinity War, Peter Parker is stuck in the most normal routine possible, sitting on a school bus. Everything changes the moment that familiar alert runs through his entire body. He senses something is wrong before even looking out the window. When he lifts his head, Thanos' massive ship already dominates the city skyline. Without thinking twice, Peter improvises an awkward escape with Ned's help and jumps out of the bus window. In the middle of the fight, he ends up clinging to the alien ship as it starts rising fast. Altitude becomes an immediate problem. The air gets thin, the cold freezes his lungs, and his body starts to shut down. Tony Stark activates a command that sends the iron suit to him. The nanotech spreads like a second metallic skin, fully wrapping Peter and providing oxygen, protection, and stability. And that's how the Iron Spider suit is born in the MCU. Seriously, look at that thing. It's beautiful. Only loses to the TASM-2 suit. Epic rescue. Going back to Spider-Man: Homecoming, a simple school field trip turns into a nightmare when Peter Parker's classmates get trapped at the top of the Washington Monument. Inside the elevator, an alien artifact hidden among the students malfunctions and sends the cabin into a free fall. Panic spreads fast, and there's no one nearby who can reach that height in time. Peter rushes to the scene, puts on the suit, and faces a challenge that could cost lives. The monument's structure is smooth, with no grip at all, and every move demands absolute strength and focus. Even so, he climbs, slips, pushes through, and keeps going as time runs out. When he reaches the top, another problem appears. The window is made of ballistic glass and resists everything he tries. A police helicopter approaches in a threatening way, making the situation even worse. With no other option, Peter makes a risky decision. He jumps onto the helicopter, shoots a web, and uses the momentum to smash through the glass by brute force. Yeah, but it's a great scene in this movie. Once inside, he fires webs to slow the falling elevator, holds the cabin, and tries to keep everyone safe while the danger continues. Little by little, everyone is rescued. When everything seems resolved, Liz slips toward the void, and at the last second, a web stops the tragedy. The Spider Cocoon. In The Amazing Spider-Man from 2012, chaos erupts in a place where it should never happen. Peter Parker's school becomes the scene of an attack when the Lizard invades, determined to find Peter Parker. Students panic and try to escape as fast as they can. Peter tells Gwen to leave the school and tries to fight the Lizard without the suit. He's thrown against a wall, but he comes back as Spider-Man. The fight continues through the school, with desks breaking, lockers flying, and the Lizard using brute force to dominate the space. Gwen shows up and tries to help by hitting the villain with a trophy. Peter reacts quickly, firing webs to bind arms, legs, and eventually wrap the villain completely, like a spider isolating its prey. A curious detail is that this scene was done entirely with CGI, not just the characters, but the school as well, so it could be filmed from angles that would be almost impossible to capture physically. The advantage doesn't last fast and risky move, Spider-Man grabs Gwen and explains what he's about to do, then pushes her out of the building, firing a web at the same instant to catch her before the fall. The tension keeps spreading through the school, moving through hallways, labs, and even the library, with a quick appearance by the beloved Stan Lee. In the end, the Lizard manages to escape, making it clear that this was only a preview of what's still to come. The Leap of Faith. Near the climax of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales finally finds himself alone on top of a skyscraper, staring down into the emptiness below. The city pulses far beneath him as he tries to control his breathing and the fear that locks his body in place. Miles is still trying to understand his identity as a superhero. He remembers what he heard before. Becoming Spider-Man doesn't come with a manual or guarantees, only the need to trust, to take a leap of faith. Miles' mind fills with voices that stayed with him along the way. When he finally acts, it's not calm. Miles throws himself off the building in a move that's more aggressive than graceful. His body drops, the air cuts across his face, and fear explodes. Then something changes, and instead of falling, he starts swinging between the buildings and the city, feeling control for the first time. The music kicks in hard, matching every movement. Miles stops looking like someone running away and starts looking like someone who's finally arrived where he was meant to be. He finally seems to understand what it means to be Spider-Man.
And that's gonna be Vi from Arcade. Now, hopefully none of you actually wanted a review on her because I'm literally only using her copies today. As you can tell, so crispy. I hope they fit into it.
Cascade.
It's time to rethink what a complete multivitamin can do. Like support you as you perfect a new track. Taking Centrum Silver daily may slow cognitive aging up to 60%. Rethink cognitive aging with Centrum.
This digital calendar lightening my mental load makes it worth every penny. I wasn't fully convinced the Skylight calendar would be able to do it until I finally got one. Let me tell you, I can't imagine going back. My family has never been so on track with everything going on, and I've never felt so at ease. Since I can easily update the calendar through the app, the hours it took to organize everything now takes minutes. Chore charts and rewards for the kids help them stay motivated. And meal planning, no more rushing to get takeout. We're building routines that will last us for years. And I just can't put a price on that kind of peace of mind. Upgrade your family to Skylight and feel the relief.
Self-made strength. In Spider-Man Homecoming, everything literally comes crashing down when Peter Parker follows the Vulture into a warehouse on the verge of collapse. The structure was already unstable, and it only takes one mistake for the concrete and metal to finally give way. In seconds, Peter is buried under a mountain of debris. Trapped in the dark with no support and without the tech suit that used to guide him. The silence feels as heavy as the rubble itself. He tries to move, strains his arms, but nothing gives. Panic hits hard. His breathing speeds up, his voice cracks, and tears show up without warning. For the first time, there's no one to help. No smart system giving instructions. Just him, alone, crushed by his own fear. In the middle of that despair, Peter sees his distorted reflection in a puddle of water next to the mask. That's when he understands his calling there. The words he once heard from Tony Stark about earning the suit come back. Not as a scolding, but as a challenge. He realizes it was never about what he wears, but about who he is. The change happens slowly, but it's real. Peter takes a deep breath, talks to himself, gathers everything he has left, and starts pushing. The weight doesn't disappear, the pain doesn't go away, but he keeps going. Little by little, the debris starts to move. What many people don't know is that this scene is a direct reference to the comic, The Amazing Spider-Man number 33, Saving Spider-Sense. At the end of Spider-Man, the fight between Peter Parker and the Green Goblin reaches a point of no return. The battle is physical, brutal, with no room for tricks, ending among the wreckage, with Mary Jane in danger and Peter pushed beyond his limit. When he finally overpowers the villain, the rage is obvious. For a few seconds, it feels like Peter might cross a line there's no coming back from. That's when Norman Osborn reappears from behind the mask. His posture changes, his voice loses its aggression, and he tries to separate himself from the monstrous figure that took over his life. He asks Peter for compassion, and Peter hesitates, but still remembers everything the Green Goblin had done. Osborn tries to play on emotion, saying he was like a father to Peter. That brief moment of compassion opens the door to betrayal. The Green Goblin's glider moves silently behind them after being activated. The blade advances with deadly intent, but the warning comes in time. Peter jumps on instinct, and the attack continues forward with no control. The impact is sharp and final. Norman is struck by his own instrument of violence. The look that remains isn't hatred, but shock and regret. Before dying, he asks Peter not to tell Harry anything.
Don't tell Harry.
The debut. In Captain America, Civil War, the airport battle is already in full swing when Captain America's team starts executing their escape plan. That's when Iron Man's team arrives. Tony Stark tries to talk to Cap, but the conversation goes nowhere. He gets fed up and shouts for the kid to get in. Out of nowhere, a web snatches Captain America's shield out of the air and pulls it away with ridiculous ease. Then a red and blue figure shows up that no one there fully recognizes. It's the first time we see your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. At the time, this scene was pure insanity. The reaction started even before the movie hit theaters, back when it appeared in the trailer, because it symbolized something fans had been waiting for years to see. It was the official arrival of a deeply beloved character into the MCU, after a long and complicated negotiation with Sony, which had acquired the Spider-Man rights back in the 90s. Finally, the webhead was free to be part of the MCU. Spider-Man introduces himself in an almost too casual way for a battlefield packed with legends. He talks nonstop, shows genuine excitement, and seems to be having fun while everyone else is taking that war very seriously.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
The dark suit. In Spider-Man 3, the transformation begins quietly, almost imperceptibly during a heavy, stormy night. While Peter Parker sleeps in his small apartment, something strange moves across the floor, coming from the fallen meteor. The symbiote finds its target without rushing. It spreads over the Spider-Man suit Peter is still wearing in bed, molding itself to the fabric as if it had always belonged there. The dark matter covers everything, replacing the traditional red with a deep, elegant, unsettling black. The awakening doesn't happen in the bedroom. Peter wakes up confused, feeling the wind hit his face, hanging upside down from a city skyscraper. The shock is immediate. He looks at his own hands, notices the new suit, and tries to understand how he got there. Every movement feels different. There's an energy pulsing under his skin, mixed with an aggressive confidence that wasn't there before. Without fully realizing the impact of it, Peter tests his body, leaps into the air, and starts swinging through the city with unusual intensity. It's not just a new suit, it's the beginning of a change he doesn't yet understand. An interesting fact is that the black suit worn by Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3 wasn't CGI, not even in the action scenes. The on-screen symbiote was a physical latex suit, extremely tight, coated with urethane to create the shine and living look. That realism came at a cost. The material was so rigid that Tobey needed help from the costume team to put it on and take it off, making the process uncomfortable during filming. Final push. At the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the city is still recovering from the chaos when Alexei Sitsevich reappears in a completely unexpected way. The criminal who seemed like just another guy at the start of the movie now shows up inside a massive robotic rhino-shaped armor, armored and built to destroy everything in its path. Rhino charges through the streets, smashing cars, ignoring gunfire, and turning the fight into a spectacle of desperation. The police try to contain the threat, but nothing really works. That's when the scene shifts in tone. In the middle of the chaos, a little boy dressed as Spider-Man, wearing a simple homemade suit, crosses the crowd and stops right in front of the villain. He puts on the mask, imitating the hero who disappeared from the city. Rhino toys with the kid, but everyone notices something approaching from the sky. That's the moment Peter Parker reappears. After a heavy period of mourning following Gwen's death, he puts the suit back on and shows up at the very last second. Peter talks to the boy, praises his courage, and asks him to go back to his mom. Then he grabs a megaphone, tells Rhino to surrender, but Rhino refuses and challenges him to fight. The screen cuts to black right as the two are about to collide, making it clear that Spider-Man has finally returned. Yeah, unfortunately, we'll never know what happened after that. Seriously, I really like this movie's ending. Bold Insect. During the fight on Titan in Avengers Infinity War, our beloved webhead faces Thanos in an epic battle. Doctor Strange throws his cloak onto the gauntlet, and Peter jumps into the attack. The battlefield keeps shifting thanks to the portal Strange opens. Peter appears from impossible angles, showing up from behind, above, and from the sides, using every opening as an offensive springboard. Peter keeps talking while he fights, holding onto his humor in the middle of the battle. For a moment, the combination of agility and strategy seems to work. Thanos is even pulled off balance, clearly irritated by the persistence of an opponent far too small for what he represents. The response is quick. Peter is easily grabbed by the neck and even gets called an insect. The power difference is made clear when he's thrown far away, crashing into Doctor Strange and ending that bold attempt. Chosen price. At the end of Spider-Man, the mood shifts completely after Norman Osborn's death. At the funeral, everything is silent and heavy, while Harry swears revenge against the hero at his father's grave. Peter Parker then goes to his uncle's grave, carrying a guilt no one there could ever imagine. Mary Jane approaches and finally opens up, explaining that facing death made her realize he was the man she truly loved. The moment is intimate, vulnerable, and real. They kiss. For a few seconds, it feels like everything could work out. Peter knows he wants to stay, but he understands that it would come at too high a cost for her. Carefully, he chooses to walk away, saying they can only be friends. There's no anger there, just frustration and a broken heart that's clear in her eyes. Mary Jane is devastated, not understanding the rejection. Peter leaves the cemetery knowing he gave up what he wanted most. And Peter's narration then comes in, reflecting on how that life is both a gift and a curse, and that with great power comes great responsibility. The ending of this movie is hard to explain. I didn't understand the weight of that decision when I was a kid, and watching it now only shows how good Sam Raimi's Spider-Man really is.
Great power comes great responsibility. This is my gift.
On screen, there's a video showing all the times Spider-Man's identity was revealed. Click and watch. See you there.
You know you make me wanna.
Too cute. My shop is officially live.
First death. In Spider-Man, we meet Norman Osborn, the owner of Oscorp and the father of Peter Parker's best friend. He's a brilliant scientist, but also a businessman desperately trying to save his company. When the military tests start failing, he decides to use an experimental formula on himself that increases strength and aggression. The experiment works, but it also creates the Green Goblin personality, and that's when the chaos begins. The first victim is Dr. Mendel Strom, an Oscorp scientist. The Green Goblin simply throws the guy out a window. With great power, the same movie also gives us one of the most emotional deaths, Uncle Ben's. The film shows Peter becoming arrogant after getting his powers, letting a rock escape purely out of ego after winning a fight and not receiving the money he was promised. Minutes later, during a rock escape, Flint Marko gets startled in the middle of the chaos and accidentally shoots Ben Parker. He dies in Peter's arms in one of the saddest deaths in superhero movie history. This twist involving Flint was only revealed years later in Spider-Man 3. For years, everyone thought Dennis was the real killer, and Dennis meets his end shortly afterward when Peter tries catching him, and the criminal falls out of a building window. Meanwhile, the Green Goblin starts a complete map inside Oscorp. He blows up military figures like Captain Curtis, General Slocum, and several soldiers using pumpkin bombs. There's even the famous scene where Norman wipes out almost the entire Oscorp board of executives. Some fall from the balcony in panic, while others simply disappear in the explosion. At the end, the movie delivers another symbolic death. After kidnapping Mary Jane Watson and forcing Peter to choose between saving her or a tram full of children, the Green Goblin enters the final battle, and here, the movie makes it clear Norman has completely lost control. During the fight, he tries attacking Spider-Man from behind using his glider, but Peter senses the danger at the last second and dodges it. Result: Norman gets impaled by the blades of his own machine. It's a quick death, but an extremely heavy one, because Peter literally watches his best friend's father die right in front of him.
Peter, don't tell Harry.
The Mechanical Arms. In Spider-Man 2, we meet Otto Octavius, a brilliant scientist who develops mechanical arms controlled by artificial intelligence to create a sustainable energy source. Before the accident, Otto seemed like the perfect mentor for Peter, and that's exactly what makes his tragedy so heartbreaking. During the experiment demonstration, Otto presents the project alongside his wife, Rosalie Octavius, who is clearly the most important person in his life. But the reactor loses control and destroys the laboratory. The mechanical arms restrain Otto while everything explodes around him, and Rosalie ends up killed by shattered glass. That scene completely changes the character from that point forward. Afterward, Otto wakes up in the hospital while doctors try removing the mechanical arms attached to his body, but the tentacle's artificial intelligence takes over, leading to one of the scariest scenes in Sam Raimi's entire trilogy. Honestly, it feels like a horror movie. The arms violently attack the doctors inside the operating room. Some get thrown against walls, another gets electrocuted, while several are killed by the tentacles themselves. After officially becoming Dr. Octopus, Otto starts stealing money and equipment to rebuild the experiment. him into one of Spider-Man's best villains. When Otto realizes the reactor will destroy all of New York, he finally regains control of himself and decides to sacrifice his own life.
I will not die, monster.
Dr. Octopus drags the machine into the river and sinks alongside it to stop the catastrophe. Best friends. And to close out the first trilogy, Spider-Man 3 completely tears apart Peter Parker's life all at once. He's finally being recognized as a hero. His relationship with Mary Jane seems stable, and New York loves Spider-Man. But then three massive problems enter the story: Sandman, the Venom symbiote, and Harry Osborn's revenge. The result? The movie turns into complete chaos. During the final battle, Venom and Sandman kidnap Mary Jane and lure Peter to a construction site. The fight becomes total war filled with explosions, steel beams, giant sand attacks, and Harry Osborn finally helping Peter after discovering the truth about his father's death. But Venom proves to be far more dangerous than expected. In the climax, Peter discovers the symbiote is vulnerable to sound and uses metal pipes to weaken Venom. Eddie Brock separates from the creature for a few seconds, but decides to bond with the symbiote again even after realizing everything is about to explode. Eddie and Venom seemingly die together in the explosion, but the heaviest death comes right afterward. During the fight, Harry Osborn gets impaled by his own glider after trying to save Peter from Venom. It's a cruel ending for the character. Harry spent 3 movies switching between Peter's best friend, rival, and enemy. And in the end, he finally makes the right choice, only to die moments later. The Lizard. In The Amazing Spider-Man, the main tragedy is still Uncle Ben's death. This time, the movie makes everything feel more grounded. Peter starts using his powers selfishly, gets into an argument with Ben, and storms out of the convenience store angry. Minutes later, Dennis Carradine tries to rob the store and ends up shooting Ben while escaping. The scene is less dramatic than the 2002 version, but that's exactly why it works. Andrew Garfield sells Peter's guilt perfectly there. You can genuinely feel the character breaking inside in that moment. Meanwhile, the story follows Kurt Connors, an Oscorp scientist obsessed with genetic regeneration. The man lost an arm and believes mixing human DNA with reptiles can solve that. Once Connors fully becomes the Lizard, the violence escalates a lot. But the movie's heaviest death isn't the villain's, it's Captain George Stacy's. Gwen's father spends most of the movie distrusting Spider-Man, but eventually decides to help Peter fight the Lizard. During the final battle, Connors attacks Stacy with his claws, and the police captain dies shortly afterward from his injuries. Before dying, he makes Peter promise to keep Gwen away from that dangerous life. And of course, Peter fails to keep that promise. The girlfriend. At the beginning of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, we see Richard Parker trying to destroy dangerous Oscorp research. To stop the experiments from falling into the wrong hands, he poisons dozens of genetically altered spiders. But then everything spirals out of control. A hijack invades the cockpit, the pilot dies off screen, and Mary Parker gets shot during the struggle. Richard reacts by smashing a plane window, sucking the criminal out of the aircraft. But it doesn't help much because the plane crashes shortly afterward, killing Richard too. The movie's main tragedy revolves around Max Dillon. He's a completely ignored Oscorp employee until he suffers a bizarre accident involving electric eels. Max seemingly dies from electrocution inside the tank, while several eels explode around him. But he returns as Electro. After causing destruction in Times Square, he's locked inside Ravencroft Institute. But once Harry Osborn frees him, Electro kills the guards and Dr. Ashley Kafka by drowning him in a water tank. In the climax at the power plant, Peter and Gwen manage to overload Electro using the city's own electricity. The villain gets disintegrated in the explosion, but nothing hits harder than Gwen Stacy's death. After Harry Osborn becomes the Green Goblin using Peter's blood, he kidnaps Gwen and takes her to the clock tower. During the fight, one of the gears breaks, Gwen slips and falls. Peter tries saving her with his web at the last second, but it's too late. His web reaches her body, but the impact still happens, and she dies. And Peter's crying afterward is what makes everything even worse, because that's the moment he realizes he lost the most important person in his life. Alien technology. In Spider-Man Homecoming, the tone changes a lot compared to the previous movies. Here, Peter Parker is already part of the MCU after the events of Captain America, Civil War, and desperately tries proving he deserves to become an Avenger. The main thread of the story is Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, a man who started out as an ordinary worker cleaning up debris from the alien invasion of New York. The movie's only death happens inside the Vulture's own crew. Jackson Bryce, who uses one version of the Shocker suit, starts arguing with Toomes after a mission goes wrong, but Adrian tries scaring him with an alien weapon and literally disintegrates Bryce by accident. In Spider-Man, Far From Home, while Peter tries enjoying a normal vacation around Europe and finally asking MJ out, Quentin Beck appears, the supposed hero from another dimension known as Mysterio. And that's when the movie starts showing just how dangerously manipulative Mysterio really is. Even before the main attacks, he's already shutting down older illusions like Cyclone, and then creating giant monsters made of sand, water, and fire just to make himself look like a savior. But his death finally comes during the climax. After manipulating the entire world and nearly killing Peter, Mysterio loses control of the drones during the final battle. Even injured, he still tries tricking Peter one last time using holograms, but Peter's spider sense finally works properly, allowing him to see through the illusion. In the middle of the chaos, a Stark drone accidentally fires at Beck, leaving the villain bleeding on the floor until he dies. And the most ironic part is that even after dying, Mysterio still manages to ruin Peter's life, because seconds earlier he records a fake video manipulating everything to frame Spider-Man as the villain, and reveal Peter's identity to the entire world.
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker.
Chaotic multiverse. In Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter stops being the friendly neighborhood hero and basically becomes the most hunted person on the planet. And while trying to fix that, he asks Doctor Strange for help. Terrible idea, because the spell goes wrong and starts pulling people from other universes who know Spider-Man's identity. But the real nightmare begins once the Green Goblin takes control of Norman Osborn again. The guy turns the place into a complete war zone. Using his classic pumpkin bombs, he blows up several police officers surrounding the building, while Peter tries protecting the villains brought from the multiverse. But the death that emotionally destroys Peter is Aunt May's. During the fight inside the building, the Goblin hits her with the glider in a brutal attack. Even injured, May still finds the strength to talk to Peter, while he stands there in shock, trying to process what happened. And that's when she delivers the iconic line, that scene completely changes the tone of the movie. Up until that moment, No Way Home still had plenty of humor and nostalgic moments. Afterward, it basically becomes a story about grief and guilt. And in the end, the most interesting part is that several classic deaths are symbolically undone. Norman gets cured, Electro loses his powers, and Dr. Octopus regains consciousness before returning to his universe. The variants. Moving on to the animated movies, we have Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse. Vanessa Fisk and her son Richard die in a car accident after leaving Wilson Fisk because of his obsession with crime. Kingpin never gets over it and spends the entire movie trying to open dimensional portals to bring alternate versions of his family back. The film also shows several important deaths through quick flashbacks. The classic Uncle Ben still exists in practically every universe.
Don't you dare finish that sentence. You know, with great ability comes great accountability.
That's not even how the saying goes, Dad.
In Miles Morales' reality, he had already been killed years earlier by a criminal. Meanwhile, in Peter B. Parker's universe, even Aunt May had already died before the main events.
The burn, I broke my back, a drone flew into my face. I buried Aunt May, my wife and I.
At the same time, Gwen Stacy carries the trauma of Peter Parker's death from her universe. Miles' origin story also happens in a tragic way. After getting bitten by a radioactive spider brought from another dimension, Miles accidentally crushes it. It looks like a quick visual joke, but technically it's the death that creates a new Spider-Man. When Kingpin activates the Super Collider, the Green Goblin tries killing the main Peter Parker by throwing him into the dimensional portal, but everything explodes in the process, and Norman ends up getting crushed by the machine itself. Right afterward, Fisk brutally murders that universe's Peter Parker right in front of Miles. That scene hits hard because Peter was trying to protect the kid until his very last second alive. But the most traumatic death, one that's practically a canon event for Miles, is his uncle Aaron Davison. During the chase, the Prowler grabs Miles, ready to attack and end everything. But Miles removes his mask and Aaron instantly freezes. He realizes he was about to kill his own nephew and immediately gives up. But Kingpin sees everything and interprets it as betrayal. Without hesitating, Fisk shoots Aaron in the back. Before dying, Aaron tells Miles to follow his own path, and that's the moment Miles truly starts becoming Spider-Man. And during the climax, Dr. Olivia Octavius tries stopping the heroes using trucks and debris flying through the collider, but one of those trucks ends up crushing her during the fight.
Never mind. Let's end this thing.
Dead universes. In Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse, the multiverse concept becomes far darker than in the first movie. Here, the story reveals that every Spider-Man universe follows certain canon events, tragedies that apparently need to happen for reality to continue existing. One of the first deaths shown through flashbacks involves Before becoming the leader of the Spider Society, he had already lost his own family in another reality. The movie shows an alternate version of Miguel being killed by criminals while trying to protect his universe. Afterward, the main Miguel decides to take that variant's place so he can live alongside his daughter Gabriella. But reality literally starts collapsing because of it, and the entire universe gets erased. The movie also makes it clear that certain deaths repeat themselves across almost every Spider-Man universe. During the Spider Society explanations, we see multiple dead versions of Uncle Ben, Peter Parker, and Captain George Stacy. It's almost like the story is saying tragedy is part of Spider-Man's DNA. Kind of cruel, but it perfectly matches Spider-Man's history in the comics. At the end, we also discover that the alternate Earth 42 universe basically turned into a crime-controlled world after the radioactive spider ended up in the wrong universe and never bit a Peter Parker. In that reality, Captain Jefferson Morales had already died before the movie's main events, something revealed through a mural spread across the city. That creates a really heavy feeling for the cliffhanger ending, because it shows a world without Spider-Man that was completely destroyed because of it. So now the question is, will the next movie have even more traumatic deaths? For now, we still don't know. But check out our video where we show every single time Spider-Man's identity was revealed. Click and watch. I'll see you there.
With Wawa's rewards program, you can earn points every day. When you gotta get rewarded, you gotta Wawa.
French's Squeeze the Joy.
See Minions and Monsters, only in theaters. Rated PG.
When we knew we were having our son, we were like, what do we use that's going to keep him safe?
I recommend Tide Free and Gentle. It's free of dyes and perfumes.
His clothes are coming out cleaner than when I used to use competitor brands.
Both gentle and effective.
Tested, trusted, cleaner.
Homemade suit. Before receiving a suit from Tony Stark, Peter Parker patrolled the streets of Queens wearing a costume made almost entirely from everyday clothes. The design is incredibly simple. A sleeveless red hoodie with a hand-painted spider symbol, a blue long-sleeve shirt, sweatpants, and even red socks pulled over his sneakers. It's exactly the kind of suit a 15-year-old could realistically put together on his own, but the real highlight was never the outfit itself. What's truly impressive is that Peter built his own web shooters and developed the web fluid using supplies from his school's chemistry lab. He also modified a pair of goggles with mechanical lenses to help control his heightened senses. This suit also plays a major role in the story. After Tony Stark confiscates Peter's high-tech suit because he believes he's not ready for that level of responsibility, Peter is forced to return to his homemade costume, and it's wearing this very suit that he takes on the Vulture in the final battle of Homecoming. Stark suit. After discovering Peter Parker's identity in Captain America: Civil War, Tony Stark decides it's time to give the young hero a serious upgrade. That's when Spider-Man receives his first official MCU suit. At first glance, it keeps the classic red and blue look, but underneath the fabric is an unbelievable amount of technology. The biggest feature is Karen, an artificial intelligence that talks to Peter,
Good evening, Peter. Hello? Hello? Congratulations on completing your rigorous training.
analyzes situations, and even suggests strategies during fights. But Tony doesn't hand over everything at once. The suit comes with a true training wheels protocol, locking away many of its functions because Tony believes Peter still needs to mature before using all that power. Once Peter and Ned manage to unlock the system, the list of features is incredible. The suit gains dozens of web combinations, glide wings, an automatic parachute, a reconnaissance drone hidden inside the spider emblem, and even the famous instant kill mode.
Enhanced combat mode? Yeah.
Activating instant kill.
No, I don't want to kill anybody.
Deactivating instant kill.
In Homecoming, we never get to see what that mode can actually do, but it finally returns in Endgame.
Activate instant kill.
Iron Spider. At the end of Spider-Man: Homecoming, after defeating the Vulture while wearing his homemade suit, Tony Stark offers Peter Parker a brand new suit and even a place among the Avengers. Peter turns him down, but in that scene we get a quick glimpse of the suit Tony was planning to give him. The same suit returns in Infinity War when Peter ends up in space and begins running out of oxygen. That's when Tony remotely activates the Iron Spider. Within seconds, the nanotechnology armor completely covers Peter's body, saving his life. Without question, this is one of the most advanced suits Peter has ever worn. The nanotechnology allows the armor to deploy almost instantly, repair itself, and survive the vacuum of space. Its biggest feature, however, is the 4 mechanical spider legs that emerge from the back. They help with mobility, serve as shields, and provide a huge advantage during combat. The suit also keeps Karen as its AI assistant and responds to Peter's commands almost instantly, making his his movements even faster and more precise. During the battle on Titan against Thanos, all of these features make a huge difference, allowing Peter to keep up with heroes far more powerful than himself. Night Monkey. During Spider-Man Far From Home, Peter Parker travels across Europe with his classmates, hoping to take a break from being Spider-Man and maybe finally tell MJ how he feels. Unfortunately, Nick Fury has other plans, or rather, Talos disguised as Fury, since the real Fury is off-world. Peter is recruited to fight the Elementals, but there's one problem. No one can connect Spider-Man to the student currently on a school trip. The solution is a suit unlike any of the previous ones. Instead of the traditional red and blue colors, Peter receives an all-black tactical suit designed by S.H.I.E.L.D. It looks much more like something a secret agent would wear than a superhero. The design is much simpler, focusing only on mobility, protection, and stealth. Even the eye lenses are manual, lacking the electronic features found in Tony Stark's suits. But the best part isn't the suit itself. During the battle in Prague, Peter's classmates see the mysterious black-clad hero in action. To stop Betty Brant from figuring out Peter's identity, Ned quickly improvises, claiming that this isn't Spider-Man at all. It's actually a European superhero called Night Monkey.
What's his name?
Night Monkey.
Night Monkey?
Yeah.
The excuse is so ridiculous that it actually works. Before long, even the media inside the movie starts calling him Night Monkey, as if he were a real superhero. The Inside Out suit. After escaping Mysterio's illusions and realizing he was the true villain, Peter Parker finally takes control of the situation and decides to build his own suit using the Stark Industries fabricator. It's a significant moment because it closely mirrors Tony Stark building his own armor, showing that Peter is finally beginning to forge his own path. Although it uses Stark technology, this suit was designed entirely by Peter, according to what he believed would work best. It includes new types of webbing, including electrically charged webs capable of disabling the drones responsible for Mysterio's illusions. But the biggest turning point isn't the suit itself. During the final battle, surrounded by illusions, Peter simply closes his eyes and relies entirely on his spider sense, creating one of the best scenes in the movie. Visually, the suit replaces the traditional blue with black accents, giving it a noticeably different appearance from Peter's previous costumes. It's wearing the suit that Peter defeats Mysterio in the final battle.
You do deserve that.
Then, in No Way Home, green paint is splashed all over the suit. Since the stain won't come out, Peter simply turns the suit inside out while trying to capture Sandman and Electro. Integrated suit. In Spider-Man, No Way Home, Peter Parker reaches his highest technological level. This suit is created during the events of the movie itself, after Dr. Octopus is cured by Peter and returns the Iron Spider nanotechnology that had attached itself to his tentacles. The golden nanobots spread across Peter's existing red and black suit, combining both suits into one. The most noticeable feature is the massive gold spider emblem on both the chest and back, formed entirely by the Iron Spider nanotechnology. It completely changes the look of the costume, making it resemble a piece of advanced armor. Beyond its new appearance, Peter also keeps many of the suit's advanced features. It can still deploy the famous mechanical spider legs, useful both for combat and movement. The nanotechnology also makes the suit more durable, allowing Peter to withstand far more powerful attacks during the final battle. This is the suit Peter wears during the battle at the Statue of Liberty, where he fights villains from other universes alongside Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Ironically, it also represents the end of an era. After Doctor Strange's spell erases Peter Parker's identity from everyone's memory, this suit is left behind along with his entire previous life, the new suit. At the end of No Way Home, no one remembers who Peter Parker is. MJ, Ned, and even the heroes who fought beside him all move on with no memory that he ever existed. For the first time since joining the MCU, Peter is completely alone, and that's exactly when a brand new suit is born. Without access to Stark Industries technology, Peter returns to his roots. He rents a tiny apartment, buys a sewing machine, and creates an entirely new costume with his own hands. The design immediately stands out thanks to its brighter colors, deep red, vibrant blue, and a finish that closely resembles Spider-Man's classic comic book suits. More than just a visual change, this suit represents an entirely new chapter for the character. For years, Peter relied on equipment designed by Tony Stark, high-tech suits and advanced technology that made life easier. Now, all of that is gone. The only things he truly has left are his intelligence, his spider sense, and his determination to keep helping people. But before we talk about the brand new day suit, we first need to discuss the other Spider-Man suits, because according to both the director and Tom Holland himself, they played an important role in inspiring this new costume, Human Spider. Before the iconic red and blue suit from Sam Raimi's trilogy existed, Peter Parker had to improvise. In Spider-Man, shortly after gaining his powers, he realizes he can use them to make money by entering a professional wrestling tournament. The prize is $3,000, and Peter believes the money could finally help him buy a car and impress Mary Jane Watson. Since he he isn't a superhero yet, he throws together a costume using whatever he can find at home. The look is incredibly simple. A long-sleeved red shirt with a hand-painted spider on the front, blue sweatpants, regular sneakers, and a red balaclava covering his face to hide his identity. It's a makeshift costume, but it already shows that Peter understands the importance of protecting his identity from the very beginning. Another fun detail happens just before the match. Peter himself chooses the name Human Spider to be announced in the arena.
What's your name, kid?
Human Spider.
The announcer, however, thinks it's a terrible name and completely ignores it.
At Zaxby's, you don't just get chicken fingers. You get the sauce. Who's got the sauce?
With Rula, it takes 5 minutes to find the right therapist for you.
Liberty Bibbity. That's my name. I tell everyone it feels great getting great coverage and savings on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Liberty Bibbity. Don't overdo it. Great coverage, great savings. Liberty, 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 Liberty.
Really thought dry skin was a normal after shower. It's not you. It's your body wash. Today I'm partnering with Native, and whoa, this thing has shea butter in it. Bold strategy. Switch to Native. No sulfates, no dyes, no nonsense. So now my skin is moisturized, actually soft. Your skin will thank you. Try Native's moisturizing body wash today.
The classic suit. After his fight with Bonesaw and Uncle Ben's death, Peter Parker finally realizes that his powers come with far greater responsibility than he ever imagined.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's when the classic suit is born, one of the most iconic superhero costumes ever put on screen, and, for many fans, still the definitive Spider-Man suit. The design stays extremely faithful to the comics while introducing a few changes that made a huge difference on film. The biggest one is the raised webbing covering the suit. Instead of simply printing the web pattern onto the fabric, the costume designers created silver three-dimensional web lines so they would stand out under any lighting. The mirrored lenses on the mask are another standout feature, completely hiding Tobey Maguire's eyes and giving Spider-Man a far more mysterious appearance. The spider emblems on the chest and back also received their own unique designs, making this version instantly recognizable even today. This is the suit Peter wears throughout almost the entire Sam Raimi trilogy, undergoing only minor changes in Spider-Man 2. The colors became more vibrant, and some details of the spider emblem were refined, but the overall design remained virtually unchanged. The truth is, though, Tobey Maguire had a difficult time wearing this costume. The actor revealed that he suffered from claustrophobia during filming, and had to get used to spending hours completely sealed inside the suit. Even so, it was worth it. More than 20 years later, this remains one of the most recognizable Spider-Man costumes ever created. The black suit. In Spider-Man 3, Peter Parker finally enters the phase fans have been waiting to see on the big screen, the black suit. It all begins when a small meteorite lands near Peter, releasing an alien organism. Without him realizing it, the creature follows him home and, during the night, bonds with his Spider-Man suit, completely transforming its appearance. Visually, the costume still resembles the classic suit from the trilogy, but now features a glossy black finish and much more aggressive details. The raised webbing remains, although it now looks more uneven, while the spider emblem becomes larger and far more intimidating. Instead of copying the comic book version exactly, Sam Raimi chose to preserve the visual identity of the original suit, creating a unique interpretation for the films. But the biggest change isn't the costume, it's Peter himself. The symbiote increases his strength, speed, and durability, making Spider-Man more powerful than ever before. The problem is that it also amplifies Peter's darkest emotions. Little by little, he becomes arrogant, impulsive, and increasingly aggressive toward everyone around him. It's during this period that some of the internet's most enduring Spider-Man memes were born, including the legendary Emo Peter. After realizing he was becoming someone completely different, especially after hurting the people he loved most, Peter decides to get rid of the symbiote. The Vigilante suit. Before wearing the famous red and blue costume, Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker also relied on a homemade outfit in The Amazing Spider-Man. After Uncle Ben's death, Peter doesn't patrol the streets looking to fight crime or save innocent people. His only goal is to find the man responsible for Ben's murder. That obsession leads to the creation of what fans call the Vigilante suit. Everything begins when Peter sneaks into an old gym and notices a poster advertising Lucha Libre wrestling. The wrestlers' masks immediately catch his attention and give him the missing piece he needs to hide his identity. From there, he assembles an entirely improvised costume using everyday clothing. The outfit includes a red fabric mask, sunglasses, a black beanie pulled over his head, a dark jacket, jeans, and a pair of sneakers. His homemade web shooters are hidden beneath the jacket sleeves, making the overall look even more discreet. This costume became incredibly popular because it genuinely feels like something a teenager could put together in real life. Fans loved the design so much that it was later included as an unlockable suit in the video games based on the movie, the definitive suit. After spending some time using his homemade vigilante suit, Peter Parker finally decides to create a costume worthy of Spider-Man. The goal was for the suit to still feel like something a teenager could realistically build by himself, and that philosophy is reflected in nearly every design choice. Unlike Sam Raimi's trilogy, this version of Peter creates his own web shooters using technology based on Oscorp's biocable research. The devices are fully mechanical and mounted directly on his wrists. The suit also focuses on practical solutions. The boots, for example, are built from athletic shoes, keeping their rubber soles to provide extra grip while climbing and swinging through New York City. Visually, this is one of the most unique Spider-Man suits ever seen on screen. The fabric features a texture similar to a basketball, creating a three-dimensional effect that stands out especially during nighttime scenes. The lenses, made from modified Oscorp eyewear, give Spider-Man a more intimidating look, while the spider emblem, with its unusually long legs, makes the costume even more distinctive. In the sequel, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the design receives a major overhaul, and in my opinion, this is the best-looking Spider-Man suit ever made. The eye lenses become much larger, the colors are far more vibrant, and the overall design moves much closer to Spider-Man's classic comic book appearance. The Brand New Day suit. Now, back to the brand new suit. Right away, the design stands out thanks to its much more vibrant colors. Red and blue are once again the dominant colors, leaving behind the high-tech aesthetic that defined much of Tom Holland's run in the MCU. Another detail that had fans celebrating is the return of the raised webbing. While the spider emblem on the chest is noticeably larger, bringing the costume even closer to the classic comic book versions. According to Tom Holland himself, that wasn't a coincidence. The actor revealed that Peter used his experience of meeting the other two Spider-Men in No Way Home as inspiration for this new design, almost as if it were a blend of all three live-action Spider-Men. Another major change happened behind the scenes. This time, Marvel significantly reduced the amount of CGI used on the suit, allowing the fabric's stitching, folds, and real imperfections to remain visible. As a result, the costume genuinely looks like something Peter could have sewn himself, reinforcing the idea that he's gone back to his roots. And take a look at the size of the web shooters. For the first time in Tom Holland's Spider-Man films, they're mounted on the outside of the suit, large, attached to his wrists, and impossible to miss. During the movie, Peter's body goes through a transformation, and he begins producing organic webbing. Just like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Peter even brings it up himself, remembering Peter 2 from No Way Home. And little by little, those massive web shooters simply stop making sense. But the biggest innovation isn't the suit's appearance, or even the webs. This suit has an artificial intelligence. Her name is EV, and here's the big difference. Karen and Edith were both Tony Stark's technology. EV isn't. Peter built her himself, on his own, using whatever he had. She monitors his vital signs, acts as an extension of his spider sense by warning him about danger in real time, helps with research, and even provides tactical support during fights. And the voice behind EV is Naomi Watts, the very same actress who played Tom Holland's mother in The Impossible, the film that introduced him to the world when he was still just a kid. In fact, there's a video on your screen right now where we break down every hidden detail you missed in Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Click on it and check it out. I'll see you there.
What are you doing? I'm trying to reach this dust. Top of the fan. Say, why don't you just use the Swiffer duster? We have one of those. Man, look, where did that come from? This cleans in all the really tight places and all the really hot ones, so you don't have to jump. Man. Ooh, looks like you got into everything. Every nick and cranny.
The Goblin. Everything happens right after the intense showdown between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin, when Peter ends up injuring his arm during the fight. Later, he tries to sneak back home, still wearing the suit. Aunt May, Norman, and Harry Osborn walk into his room, and Peter quickly tries to hide, but Norman notices something's off. A bit later, during Thanksgiving dinner, Peter tries to hide the wound he got, but Norman, always observant, realizes the injury matches the one he gave Spider-Man during their fight.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that looks awful.
How did you say that happened?
Bike messenger.
incident sets off alarm bells in Norman's head. He starts putting the pieces together and figures out Peter is hiding something big. He's Spider-Man. The tension rises as Norman starts subtly questioning Peter, and, well, he ends up confirming his suspicions, discovering Spider-Man's true identity. It's worth noting that Peter only finds out who's behind the Green Goblin at the end of the movie, when Norman tries to trick him, but it backfires.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
The train. The train sequence in Spider-Man 2 is just unforgettable. It's my favorite superhero scene ever. It all starts with Spider-Man fighting Dr. Octopus on top of a moving train. Octopus, as usual, is determined to cause as much chaos as possible and sabotages the train's brakes, sending it speeding uncontrollably toward disaster. Peter Parker is exhausted. His powers are unstable and he's struggling with his own limits, but he knows he can't let anyone get hurt. With courage and determination, Peter uses every bit of skill, strength, and, of course, his webs to try and stop the train. Every move is critical. Every second counts. It's an intense, adrenaline-filled moment that shows Spider-Man at his absolute best. He finally manages to stop the train and saves everyone on board, but the effort takes everything out of him. Peter passes out right after, completely drained. When he wakes up, he realizes he's not alone. The passengers gently lift him up, staring in awe. They see that under the mask, he's not some invincible superhero, just a regular young guy who risked his life to save them.
He's just a kid.
Best friend. Still in Spider-Man 2, there's one deeply emotional scene where Harry Osborn discovers that his worst enemy and his best friend are the same person. It all happens right after the train sequence. While Peter is weak and vulnerable, Dr. Octopus shows up again. He captures Spider-Man easily and delivers him to Harry Osborn in exchange for the tritium he needs for his experiment.
Where do you want him?
Blinded by revenge for his father's death, Harry finally gets the chance to face the man he's hated for so long. He slowly approaches the unconscious Spider-Man, grabs a knife, and removes his mask, ready to look his enemy in the eye.
Look into your eyes as you die.
But the shock hits hard. Under the mask is Peter Parker, his best friend. Harry's face freezes in disbelief and horror, completely shattered by the truth. Peter then wakes up and breaks free from his restraints. He doesn't have time to explain or argue about the past, because right now, Mary Jane's in danger, and he has to save her. Mary Jane. At the climax of Spider-Man 2, one of the trilogy's most emotional moments unfolds. Peter Parker, now fully aware of his responsibility as Spider-Man, faces Dr. Octopus in a final showdown. The scientist, driven mad, reactivates his dangerous fusion reactor, threatening to destroy everything. Meanwhile, Mary Jane is chained to a pillar inside the waterfront lab, terrified as she watches Spider-Man fighting alone. The battle is fierce and chaotic, and Peter pushes himself to the limit to stop the disaster. In a desperate move, Peter takes off his mask and talks to Octavius, who briefly regains his sanity, asking how to stop the machine. In that moment, Mary Jane sees his face. It's then she finally understands everything. The guy she loves is also the masked hero who's been saving the city. Peter rescues her just as the structure begins to collapse. After Octavius sacrifices himself to stop the destruction, Peter and Mary Jane escape together. She's shaken, still processing what she's learned, but now she knows the truth Peter tried to keep secret for so long. The symbiote switch. In Spider-Man 3, Eddie Brock's big transformation happens in the iconic church scene, where the symbiote finally chooses him as its new host. After being humiliated and fired from the Daily Bugle, Eddie goes to the church to pray, not for forgiveness, but asking God to kill Peter Parker. That's how deep his hatred runs. Meanwhile, Peter, overwhelmed by guilt and the darkness of the black suit, climbs the church tower trying to tear it off. The deafening sound of the bells weakens the alien creature, which screams and tries to resist. Down below, Eddie hears the noise and looks up, just in time to see Peter ripping the symbiote off. The creature, now free, falls onto Eddie and completely engulfs him. The merge is instant, and that's how Venom is born, driven by hatred and revenge. The girlfriend. In The Amazing Spider-Man, Peter decides it's finally time to trust Gwen Stacy completely and reveal his secret identity. It happens one quiet night on top of a building with the city lights shining behind them. Peter is clearly nervous, not knowing how to start. Gwen notices his unease and asks what's wrong, curious and a bit worried. That's when Peter decides to open up. He struggles to find the words. His biggest secret is right on the tip of his tongue, but he just can't say it. Gwen, realizing he won't speak, turns to leave. But his action says it all. Gwen is shocked at first, but then he kisses her, and the moment turns tender and genuine. It's a warm, sweet reaction that shows how deep their connection is. Before it can get any more romantic, Gwen's mom calls her inside, saying her dad wants her home, while Peter's spider sense kicks in as he hears sirens and Captain Stacy leaving. Something's going down. Peter jumps off the building, ready to do his job as Spider-Man. The burning car. During the lizard's bridge attack, chaos erupts. People scream, and several cars dangle over the edge, barely held up by Spider-Man's web. Inside one of those cars, a little boy named Jack is trapped, crying as the vehicle starts to slip. Peter spots him and, without hesitation, changes focus from chasing the villain to saving the kid. He reaches the car and tries to calm Jack down, who's frozen in fear. Then Peter does something unexpected. He takes off his mask and gives it to the boy. He shows his face to earn the kid's trust, to show him that under the suit, he's just a regular guy trying to help.
My mask. All right.
All right.
Okay, I got you. You're great, buddy. You're doing great. That's it. Keep coming.
With the mask on, Jack finally trusts him. As flames spread and tension rises, Spider-Man rescues him with his webs and brings him safely to his father.
Who are you? Spider-Man.
The father-in-law. It all happens during the final battle against the lizard, when Peter ends up being seen by the police as a threat. Captain Stacy is determined to capture the masked hero and personally leads the operation to arrest him. The tension is sky high. Peter needs to move fast and still protect his identity. During the chase, Peter is hit by an electric dart that knocks him out for a moment. When he wakes up, he realizes he's surrounded by armed officers, and Captain Stacy is standing right in front of him. Stacy tries to remove Spider-Man's mask to finally find out who he really is. The mask comes off, but thanks to his spider sense, Peter reacts instantly. With lightning speed, he takes down all the officers, but the captain pulls out his gun and points it at him. That's when Peter turns around and shows his face. He tells him that Gwen is in danger and he has to go save her.
Parker. It's headed to Oscorp, and your daughter's there right now.
Still shocked by the revelation, Captain Stacy lets him go. But one of the cops, thinking Spider-Man is trying to escape, fires a shot that hits Peter in the leg, forcing him to continue his journey injured. In the end, Captain Stacy dies and makes Peter promise to stay away from Gwen forever. And, well, you already know what happens after that. Friendship broken. In The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the fate of Harry Osborn and Peter Parker changes forever. Their childhood friendship turns into tragedy once the truth comes out. Harry is suffering from the same rare disease that killed his father. Desperate, he believes Spider-Man's blood could cure him. But when Peter, hiding his identity, refuses to help, Harry feels completely betrayed. Consumed by anger, he breaks into Oscorp and injects himself with the spider venom. The result is devastating. His body mutates, his skin turns pale, and the Green Goblin is born. Now he doesn't want a cure anymore. He wants revenge. During the final battle, Harry storms into the clock tower and finds Spider-Man with Gwen Stacy. He watches the way Peter talks to her, and then everything suddenly makes sense. Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
No, Harry. I'm gonna take away yours. No, run! Harry!
That revelation breaks him completely. The old friend he once loved and the hero who rejected him are the same person. From that moment on, Harry isn't fighting Spider-Man. He's fighting Peter Parker, and that anger leads to the movie's most tragic scene.
Stay with me, stay with me.
Tony's...
Hello there, boys. Damn, 2 hours.